We have two of the most storied programs in the history of college football. Michigan, number 8, 9-2, runners-up this year in the Big Ten. And from the SEC, the champions of the Southeast, number 6, Alabama, at 10-2. Both these teams come in hot. Alabama on a 5-game winning streak, which included Auburn at the end of the regular season, Florida in an SEC championship game, which wasn't even close. The Alabama defense completely eliminating Steve Spurrier's Florida offense. So they come in on that roll, and Michigan comes in with a 4-game winning streak, including knocking off Ohio State at the end of their year. Bill Curry joins me. We also have Dave Ryan with us on the field at Pro Player Stadium. We expect about 70,000 for the matchup, just the third in history between the Crimson Tide and the Wolverines. They met most recently in Gene Stallings' final game as the head coach of the Tide. The 96 Outback, 17-14, won by Alabama. That was also their last appearance in the New Year's Day Bowl. They met for the first time in the 1988 Hall of Fame Bowl. And Michigan win that day 28-24. Bill Curry, a lot of things intriguing about this. It looks very tight. That's how the odds makers look at it. You have two teams that thrive year in, year out on defense, and they have two of the best defenses in the country.
They have two of the best defenses, Dave. And this thing of tradition, when you talk about two of the winningest programs of all time, this is something that filters into the players' consciousness so that they really play football at a time like this with a little more passion than other people. And I think that's the reason that they're so successful year in and year out, regardless of talent level. When they hit a rough spot, and both these programs did this year, they bounced back. They finished with winning streaks more often than not in their seasons. And they come into this game, as you said, two hot football teams, really anxious and motivated to win. I think there are some critical points. Michigan O-line must come off the football and be able to dominate the Alabama D-line. That's a tall order. And Ellis Johnson, the defensive coordinator for Alabama, used some bold words when he talked to you and me and the rest of us on the phone in the conference call. He said, we need to eliminate Michigan's running game. Well, it's tough to do that with Anthony Thomas running the ball the way he has over the last 5 weeks. The other thing that I think favors Alabama is team speed. I'm not sure Michigan's seen anybody that runs like Alabama. And then we get to the quarterback play, which I think favors Michigan in Tom Brady's veteran expression in his senior year. He's had a marvelous season, and he's been elected most valuable player and captain by his teammates. Conditioning will be big, and both secondaries have been porous at times this year. I think after you sort it all out, the edge goes slightly, just slightly, to the University of Alabama.
Well, as I said, with us on the sidelines tonight is Dave Ryan. And Dave, we know one thing coming in. Michigan is a healthier team, and especially on the offensive line, they're healthier. Alabama has had a question mark all week involving the Outland Trophy winning left tackle Chris Samuels. His status tonight, Dave.
Well, Dave, thanks a lot. He will not play this evening. He'll be in street clothes on the Alabama bench due to strained knee tendons. Now, Bama trainers tell me tonight Samuels was rested as much as possible this past week in practice, but even keeping the reps done in workouts would not reduce the swelling or pain. He simply can't push off the line of scrimmage with any effectiveness. In fact, they'll probably have an arthroscopic knee procedure next week as Michigan hits the field, and you can hear the reaction down here. It is very loud. Now, guys, they're really going to miss him against Michigan. He's 6'6", 298 pounds, didn't surrender a sack or quarterback pressure in all 12 games this year. I talked to Samuels briefly before the game. He said he's going to provide a lot of leadership. He's done it in practice, and he'll do so tonight, acting as another coach on the Bama sideline, Dave.
Still, that's awfully tough, Dave. 42 straight starts, that streak ending in what would have been his final game in the Crimson Tide uniform. And the Alabama team now making their appearance on the field at Pro Player Stadium. Out of the tunnel to our left, the Michigan Wolverines already on the field. Chris Samuels this year, Bill, had, if there is such a thing, he had a perfect year for an offensive lineman. He did not only not allow a sack, he never even allowed a quarterback pressure. Never let anybody get near sacking either Zhao or Watts. And 89 knockdown blocks. There's not a whole lot more you could ask of a tackle.
Well, having been an offensive lineman, I'm skeptical of numbers like that. So I knew if I asked Neil Callaway who's the O-line coach and the offensive coordinator for Alabama, one critical question, I would have my answer. He's coached so many great players at Auburn and Alabama. I said, Neil, now you tell me, is Samuels as good as anybody you've coached? He said, head and shoulders. He's the best I've ever seen, the best I've ever coached. That made me think maybe he really hasn't surrendered a sack and he's knocked all those people down. He is a great player, and what makes this matter more pressing for Alabama is that 2 freshmen are going to have to take up the slack. Dante Ellington, a true freshman who's been starting at right tackle, will have to move to left, and Lannis Baxley, who's been backing up on the left side, will have to move to right. So both tackle positions are weakened enormously here tonight, which is going to force Alabama to go to a lot of 2 tights. The coaches have already told us that.
The coin toss going on the field right now. Alabama has won the toss, and they will be going from our right to our left here in the first quarter. Alabama tonight wearing the home uniforms, the crimson with the white jerseys and white pants, of course, and Michigan and the traveling white jerseys, maize pants and blue numerals. Alabama winning and electing to defer. Michigan will receive the opening kick of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl. And tonight's game is brought to you by FedEx. Next time, send it FedEx and be absolutely sure. We want to extend a special welcome to our U.S. servicemen and women stationed around the world and on all the ships at sea listening to tonight's game on the Armed Forces Radio Network. We have 2 of the 5 winningest college football Division 1A programs. Michigan first all time. If they win tonight, that's 796. Alabama right now can tie Texas for 4th all time. Right now, Alabama is 5th at 734. If they win, they pull even with the Longhorns, who fell in the Cotton Bowl earlier this afternoon to Arkansas. Alabama, however, first all time. This is their 50th appearance in a bowl. They have won 28. Michigan has a stretch working of 25 consecutive years appearing in a bowl. This is their 31st total. They are 15-15. It's a streak that began right here in the Orange in 1976, their first trip to Miami, which was also the year that the Big Ten's agreement only sending teams to the Rose Bowl ended. They were the first Big Ten team to play in any bowl other than the Rose back in '76. So we're just about set to kick it off. Alabama kicking from our right to our left. Ryan Pflugner is out, and Walter Cross is back deep waiting for Michigan. 3rd meeting in history between 2 of the best ever in college football. Alabama and Michigan in the FedEx Orange Bowl, and we're underway. And the kick by Pflugner taken at the 11 by Cross. Heads right. And Walter Cross reaches the 28-yard line, a return of 17, and we'll see Michigan on offense. And we'll line them up left to right this way on the offensive line. Jeff Backus, a 3-time All-Big Ten left tackle. Next to him, also 3-time All-Big Ten. That's Steve Hutchinson. The center is David Brent. Chris Zeman is the right guard. Ben Mast is the right tackle. The tight end is Sean Thompson. The wide receivers, both big and dangerous, David Terrell and Marcus Knight. The fullback is a converted tight end, an excellent receiving fullback. That's Aaron Shea. Anthony Thomas is the tailback, and the senior Tom Brady getting the start. Shea in motion. Play fake to Thomas, and Brady throws back to his left, and he has Shea. Breaks a tackle, reaches the 34-yard line. He got away from Miguel Merritt, and it was Kenny King who brought him down for Alabama. The Alabama front 4 will line up this way. Kendall Moorhead at end. Reggie Grimes at tackle on the left side. On the right side, the tackle is Cornelius Griffin, and Kenny King, a true freshman, at the right defensive end. The linebackers are Darius Gilbert on the strong side. Another true freshman, Salim Rashid, their leading tackler in the middle. Miguel Merritt, a senior, is the weak side backer. Milo Lewis and Gerald Dixon are the corners. Marcus Spencer at strong safety, and Reggie Miles at free safety for Bama. On 2nd and 5, first carry of the night by Anthony Thomas, who is buried at the line of scrimmage. He may get a yard. He ran right into the right defensive tackle, Cornelius Griffin. And Bill, you mentioned a hot running back, and Anthony Thomas is that. He closed the regular season with a streak of 5 consecutive 100-yard performances.
Anthony Thomas is big. He's fast. He's become very, very durable. He is the running game for Michigan, normally accustomed to having a kind of a rolling situation with 2 or 3 backs.
Brady on the shotgun on third down, guns it over the middle, and it's through the hands of Diallo Johnson on a post. He was open. The pass was right there from Brady. He had Gerald Dixon beaten, but he can't bring it in, and it's 4th down and 4, and Michigan will have to punt it away.
Dave, one of the things that I look for when I study a bowl team, these two teams are in shape. There aren't any fat guys out there. Everybody has worked hard. They're going to be vigorous, and this will be a 4-quarter game.
Aiden Epstein handles the punting and all the kicking for Michigan, and his first punt of the night is a good one. It sails to the 20-yard line, where Freddie Millens has the return to the 30, heads right and dragged down from behind at the 36-yard line. A 45-yard punt by Epstein. Millens brings it back 17 yards. B.J. Askew drags him down from behind, and Alabama will start from there. The Alabama offense without Chris Samuels, so the left tackle moving from the right side is the freshman Dante Ellington. Left guard Griff Redmill, Paul Hogan, all SEC is the center. The right guard is Will Cuthbert. Redshirt freshman Lannis Baxley, normally the backup to Samuels at left tackle. He starts at right tackle tonight. Jason McAdley, Freddie Millens, the wideouts. Terry Jones Jr. is the tight end. The fullback is Dustin McClintock. Sean Alexander is the tailback, and Andrew Zhao is the quarterback, and he's back gunning incomplete on first down, and wide open running up the left side of the field was Jason McAdley, but Zhao overthrew him. Defensively for Michigan, their front three, Josh Williams at end, Rob Renas is the nose tackle, and Eric Wilson is the defensive tackle. Their 4 linebackers inside, Ian Gold and D'Hanny Jones, both seniors. James Hall, the rush linebacker, also a senior, and the outside linebacker, redshirt freshman Victor Hobson. Corners, Todd Howard and James Whitley. Strong safety is Tommy Hendricks. Free safety is Cato June. On 2nd and 10, give is up the middle to Sean Alexander across the 40 to the 42-yard line on his first carry. The SEC Player of the Year picks up about 5 yards. Tommy Hendricks makes the tackle for Michigan.
You said it just right, David. Jason McAdley, number 80, was open. Not only was he was open for a touchdown. It was a fake of the little slip screen to Freddie Milans, whom I think may be the most exciting player in America. The Michigan defense reacted. McAdley was wide open, and Zhao just flat missed him.
Zhao will take the snap on 3rd and 5 from the shotgun, and the throw is caught behind the line of scrimmage by Antonio Carter, and he is dropped as soon as he makes the catch by D'Hanny Jones. Jones, the 3rd leading tackler on the Michigan defense. He had 11 stops for a loss during the regular season, and add another one here. They lose, and they will look at 4th down and 9. So on to kick it away for Alabama after 3 and out on the first series will be Patrick Morgan. Diallo Johnson waiting at his 25-yard line for the Wolverines. Morgan gets the kick away. Good one, and Johnson signals for the fair catch right at the 21-yard line, and he'll make it there after a kick of 41 yards. So just underway at Pro Player Stadium in Miami in the FedEx Orange Bowl, 11:59 to go in the first quarter. We're scoreless. You're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl.
Dante Ellington, Lannis Baxley, and Bart Ralton all filling in tonight for Chris Samuels, who's hurt with a knee injury. So a good start for Michigan to dodge that early Alabama bullet, as Bill Curry talked about the great speed Bama may have later on in this game.
Yeah, I think Michigan has an advantage in the way their inside linebackers run inside out. They're just quick. Ian Gold and D'Hanny Jones already showing up in the perimeter, and that's one way to negate the speed of Alabama.
So Michigan set to go. Their first offensive series went nowhere. Their second series begins with a play fake and a toss on the right side, which is complete at the 20, but Shea is driven straight to the sideline, and out of bounds he goes as Reggie Miles rides him from the hash mark all the way to the near sideline, and that will lose a yard. Aaron Shea, senior from Ottawa, Illinois, not a little fullback. He's 6'5" and 251, and Reggie Miles giving up about 70 pounds, and the way you saw him hit him, you'd think it was the other way around. So now 2nd and 11. Backs are split. 2 wideouts on the left side, and the give through the middle is to Thomas, trying to break the tackle, and he'll go to the 24-yard line. He's wrapped up by Darius Gilbert, the strong side linebacker, and third down coming for the Wolverines.
That was a nice play. Steve Hutchinson, the left guard, pulled and kicked out on the defensive end. And that's the kind of thing that Thomas does to you. It didn't look pretty. It didn't look like he gained anything. He was hit at the line of scrimmage, and then he proceeded to drag 2 tacklers, and all of a sudden you look up and the guy's got 5 yards. So it's 3rd and a long 5.
From the 25, near hash mark, Brady in the shotgun. 3 wideouts, and they send it to the left side. First catch by David Terrell, who will come up well short again of the first down. He's hit at the 28-yard line and dropped right there by Salim Rashid and Tony Dixon, the top 2 tacklers on this Alabama defense. And to hear Ellis Johnson, Bill, talk about Salim Rashid, you think he's talking about a guy who's already in the NFL, not a true freshman.
He is a true freshman who won the starting job in the first scrimmage, Dave. At middle linebacker, that's very difficult to do. But you can see why just watching him run and hit.
Epstein will have to punt on 4th and 2 and gets this one off right down the middle. It's a bit short, and Millens will signal at the 40-yard line for the fair catch. But in the exchange of field position after just a 33-yarder by Epstein, Alabama will start off in pretty good shape at their 39-yard line. 10 minutes exactly to go in the first quarter. Michigan nothing, Alabama nothing. You're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl. Welcome back to the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl, brought to you by FedEx. Next time, send it FedEx and be absolutely sure. Michigan, 2 3-and-outs. Alabama was 3-and-out on their first possession. They're out for their second now, and they will alternate quarterbacks every series. And so redshirt freshman Tyler Watts from Pelham, Alabama, will take his turn after Andrew Zhao went 3-and-out the first time they had it. They'll start at their 39-yard line, far hash mark. They line up in the I formation. McClintock in front of Sean Alexander. Now they motion the tight end right to left, Terry Jones Jr. Give is to the fullback, Dustin McClintock. One of his few carries. He had only 37 for 157 yards during the season, and a pickup to the 43-yard line of 4. The inside linebacker, Ian Gold, making the tackle.
Dave, you talked about Aaron Shea being rather good size at 250. How about McClintock at 270? And that's a lean, hard 270. And he made 5 yards on that carry. I know, kind of like Anthony Thomas.
Mostly on his own. There's movement from the right tackle, Bart Ralston, for Alabama, and they'll march back 5. So what he did for him on first down, McClintock, now wiped out all 5 yards.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Voice of Chuck McFerrin, our referee, our officials tonight from the Pac-10 conference. And this reshuffled Alabama offensive line has its first problem on the early movement by Bart Ralston.
And when you're a rookie player and you're out there for the first time and you're in a big bowl game, it is so hard to even pay attention to the snap count. These guys will settle down and do better as time goes by.
Motion from Millens, and the option goes to the right side. Sean Alexander breaks the tackle, breaks another one, and hit to the 45. In fact, swarmed by about 6 white jerseys at the 45-yard line, and we have another marker thrown near the far sideline. So Sean Alexander took an option pitch to the right side from Tyler Watts, and we'll wait to see what this latest indication is.
It was a really interesting play. They did that long motion.
Holding Alabama is the call.
They did that long motion that you see Florida and Purdue run so much with the receiver, where you fake the handoff to the receiver.
Run beyond the line.
There's the call.
Penalty from the spot of the foul.
And then they ran the option the other way with Alexander as the pitchback. He turned it up and looked like he was going to run a long way, and he ran about 4 yards and got hit by 6, at least 6, maybe 7 white jerseys. And you think about what Jim Herman said that the Michigan defense is going to have to do: swarm to the football and punish the ball carrier. Well, that's what they did on that one.
Did it well there. During the year, a school record 92 penalties, 734 yards against Bama. They now look at 2nd and 19. Swing pass at the near side to Millens, breaks 1 tackle, now swarmed again, and there are 3 white jerseys on Millens, led by Dwayne Patman and joined by Todd Howard. and James Whitley at the 33-yard line, where it will be third down at about 16. That picks up 3.
That's right. Millens was lucky. He only got hit by 3 because he stayed out here near the sidelines. You get toward the middle of that field with either one of these defenses, and you're going to get hit by as many as 11, Dave. They are really playing hard. You can hear it up here where we are. Almost, a lot of smashing.
Almost feel it. They go 5 wides, and Tyler Watts in the shotgun on 3rd and 16. Quick toss inside to Millens. No room there. Tries to go back outside. Can't do it. Cut down after a gain of only 1 by Dehaney Jones.
And it's evident right now who the big hitters are going to be for Michigan. And by that, I'm not talking necessarily about smashing. I'm talking about figuring in making an awful lot of plays, and it's Ian Gold and Dehaney Jones, those inside linebackers that run so well.
4th and 15 for Alabama. Patrick Morgan is on for his second punt, takes a rather high snap, brings it in, and sends a nose-up spiral to Diallo Johnson, who makes the fair catch at the 28 of Michigan. A 38-yard punt by Patrick Morgan, the senior from Birmingham. Average right at 40 yards. Did not have 1 block during the regular season. So Michigan looking at 1st and 10 coming up from their 28. With 7:31 to go first quarter, we are still 0-0 in the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, Dave Ryan at Pro Player Stadium in Miami. We've had 4 series. We've had 4 punts, and Michigan has it for the 3rd time. 1st and 10 at their own 28, far at hash mark. Brady with the handoff up the middle. No gain, maybe a loss of 1 for Anthony Thomas. Miguel Merritt, the senior weak side linebacker, making the stop for Alabama.
Dave, when Ellis Johnson talks about eliminating the Michigan running game, and I talk about the fact that's a tall order, we have to realize that they're also starting 4 true freshmen on this defense. Gerald Dixon at corner, Salim Rashid middle linebacker, Kenny King at defensive end, and Jarrett Johnson another defensive end, and although he's not starting, he's playing a lot.
From the shotgun, 4 wides, Brady has it, throws complete on the far side, and a pickup of about 9 yards for Marquise Walker, the sophomore wideout from Syracuse, tackled by Gerald Dixon for Alabama. And the best chance either has had yet at picking up this game's first down coming up right here. Michigan will look at 3rd down and a little less than 1 from their 37-yard line.
So when Alabama's playing as good a defense as anybody in America, they're playing 4 true freshmen a lot. That's an awful lot of coaching and adjusting.
Brady, offset eye behind him, up to the line. Movement by Merritt, backs out. Let's see if there's a flag. None thrown. Thomas, I think, stopped up the middle short of the 1st down. And apparently Miguel Merritt did get back in time. So they keep trying to pound the middle with Anthony Thomas, 6'2", 225-pound junior tailback from Winfield, Louisiana, who had 1,257 yards during the season and is making no headway whatsoever against this Alabama 9th best in the country defensive unit. He did not get it. He came up a couple of feet short. And again, Michigan unable to move the ball, having to kick it away. We've had no 1st downs for either team yet. Here for the 3rd time is Hayden Epstein, standing at his 22. They fake it. They snap it to the short man. Ian Gold, 1st down to the 42-yard line. What a spot for Lloyd Carr to call fake punt, but it worked. He obviously saw something in the video, and he went right to it. Michigan, at last, has a 1st down. What about that call?
At last, somebody has a 1st down. I think that was a courageous call, and I think it was something that Alabama could have sniffed out if they had a little more experience on defense. And now, but right back to that freshman thing. Michigan came up and got in 3-point stances, Dave. Normally you don't do that in punt. It looked funny when I saw it. I thought they might run the ball, and they did.
From the 42 now, 3 wide, shotgun. Brady backs up, throws to the left side. Thomas, a good pass receiving running back, is hit for a loss of 2 at the 41 by a couple of linebackers, Salim Rashid and Miguel Merritt.
These guys are so fast, Dave. They are like heat-seeking missiles. I mean, we saw Mississippi State and Clemson play the other night, and they had a bunch of linebackers that just absolutely fly. These guys are the same. That time Merritt got there first, and Rashid was right on his tracks.
Call it a loss of 1, 2nd and 11, offset I. And the toss sweep right side. Here comes Thomas to the 42. No more. Grabbed there by Rashid. Well, they described him right. Defensive coordinator Ellis Johnson says a very unusual young man, the best Alabama linebacker this early in his career, maybe ever. And think how many people that takes in.
I have never seen a true freshman take a job away from a veteran in the first scrimmage at the position of middle linebacker. Maybe running back, maybe wide receiver, never at linebacker. This guy is a phenom.
3rd and 10, 3 wides. Another shotgun snap for Tom Brady. Movement, flags are down. Brady throws in and out of the hands of Marcus Knight. So he's been victimized a couple of times by drop pass by his wide receivers, Knight here, and on their first series, Diallo Johnson. But a discussion about the flags thrown right at the time of the snap, and we'll hear from the referee, Chuck McFerrin.
Defense lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
It is still 3rd down, and that cuts it to 3rd and 5, Michigan. They'll take this snap from their 47-yard line. Waiting for their first penetration into Alabama territory. David Terrell breaks the huddle wide left, joined on that side by Marcus Knight. 3rd penalty already against Bama, total 20 yards. Brady under center, split backs behind him. No blitz look from Alabama. And Brady drops back, chase to the right, pulls up, fires in the middle. Another flag is down. Shea makes the catch. If the play stands, he'll have a first down at the Alabama 48, but I'm not sure this play is going to stand.
It looked like that Chris Zeman, the right guard, got a hold of a face mask of either Reggie Grimes or Kendall Moorhead, one of the Alabama rushers, and maybe just pulled him down a little bit. I tell you, these guys are so fast. Both these defenses are playing dominating football.
Personal foul, face mask on the offense, 15 yards from the spot of the foul.
Well, there it is. The would-be penetration into Alabama territory wiped out by the real obvious face mask by Chris Zeman. Getting a chance to look at it on the replay. Grabbed Kendall Moorhead, the left defensive end, jerked that head back, and so that costs the Wolverines all the way back. They will huddle at their 20, and they'll take the snap at their 26-yard line. So in effect, that's actually about a 26-yard penalty in terms of where they were had that play been allowed to stand. They'll snap it from the near hash mark 26-yard line.
Yep, they got 3rd and about from here to Atlanta for a first down.
3rd and back to the 20th century.
Oh, man. That is a fur piece.
26 yards to be exact from the shotgun. Brady, not pressured all day, looks, fires behind David Terrell, and incomplete. Not a good pass at all by Brady.
Yeah, we've seen Zhao miss. Okay, he's a young quarterback. He's in a lot of pressure here in this bowl situation. Brady, with a wide open receiver, could have at least gained a little field position for his team. They're not going to have the advantage when it comes to the kicking game because the hidden yardage in this game, the net punting figure for Alabama is fully 5 yards better than Michigan as a rule.
What a costly face mask. Here comes Epstein on the punt. End over end job. Millens lets it take a hop, and it takes a Michigan hop, and still rolling at the 31-yard line. Near the 30 is where it will be down. So with the roll, Epstein gets 43 yards. And we have exactly 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Michigan nothing, Alabama nothing. You're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl. Welcome back to the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl, brought to you by FedEx. Next time, send it FedEx and be absolutely sure. Let's go down to Dave Ryan.
Well, Dave, as we know, Alabama started Andrew Zhao at quarterback, but as we've talked about, they're going to see a rotation system all night long with Tyler Watts. Now, Bama coaches tell us they'll continue the rotation they used in the SEC championship game against Florida, the two will switch each series. As long as each quarterback is playing well, offensive coordinator Neil Callaway says he'll continue to alternate all game long. The Tide coaching staff feels with a rotation, they can really keep Michigan's defense off balance and can dictate a lot more than Michigan can with its defense. Now, guys, it's interesting. We see Watts throwing when Zhao is in the game and vice versa. Andrew Zhao tossing a couple times with Watts now. He's ready to go back in for this next series for Alabama.
David, of course, Michigan began the year not in an every series rotation at quarterback, but Tom Brady got most of the time, and then you'd see Drew Henson for maybe as much as a quarter, and that went by the wayside, Bill, late in the season, and we're probably not going to see Drew Henson as long as the game is close. At least that was the indication we got from Mike DeBoer, the offensive coordinator for the Wolverines.
But what Lloyd Carr said all along was, I'm waiting for one of these guys to really take it over, and Brady did. He became the legitimate MVP of his team, and yes, he will play the whole game unless something unusual happens. And something unusual just happened on the field. A quick huddle, the quick snap.
Whistle just as Zhao hands it to Alexander.
Timeout, Michigan.
Well, that was quick.
Yes, what happened is Michigan was in their defensive huddle. Alabama ran on the field, did not huddle, sprinted to the ball, got ready to snap it, and Michigan was in total disarray and had to blow a timeout. They burned a timeout just because Alabama might have run into the goal post with no defenders ready to tackle. Smart by the Alabama coaching staff.
So far, Michigan has gained only 27 yards of offense. They've had 21 yards in penalties, so their total offense is 6 yards. Alabama has gained 11. They've had 20 in penalties, so their total offense is -9. When we came on the air, we talked about defenses. That is all we have seen so far.
Yeah, and I think that could go on and on here. Neither one of these defenses has the luxury of ganging up. A lot of the defenses that stop the run so well give up an awful lot of yards in the passing game. Both these teams have so many weapons on the outside, they can't put 7 and 8 in the box, so to speak, to stop the run. They've got to spread out, and they've got to play the run one-on-one. So sooner or later, Sean Alexander and Anthony Thomas ought to get going a little bit in the running game.
Now ready, 1st and 10 Alabama after the timeout. Give to Alexander up the middle to the 34-yard line, where he's wrapped up by Josh Williams, the defensive end, a senior from Houston. This is a senior-laden Michigan defense. All 3 starting defensive linemen, 3 of the 4 linebackers, and Hendricks, the strong safety, all in their final game in Wolverine maize and blue tonight. Sean Alexander sets up 2nd down and 6 after a season in which he was named SEC Player of the Year. 9 Alabama school records. 3,565 yards among them. Career rushing leaders. Now on a roll, throws on the roll, and way over the head of Shamari Buchanan, who was double covered up the right sideline, and it'll be 3rd and 6 for the Tide. Todd Howard, Cato June on the Michigan coverage.
Dave, I know Alabama at least intended to go with a good bit of 2 tight ends to help their young tackles. We haven't seen that a snap yet, unless there was one in short yardage. Frankly, I don't remember. I don't think we've seen a single time when they've been in 2 tights, and both tackles are really struggling with their protection and their run blocking.
Tim Bowen's in at wide receiver for Shamari Buchanan. 3 in the backfield. Give us to Millens, who lined up as a halfback, and he has a 1st down, breaking tackles to the 45-yard line. Freddie Millens picks up 12 yards before he's stopped by Eric Brackens, and he'll line up at wide receiver. Halfback as he did there. He will also probably at some point, Bill, line up and take a snap or 2 at quarterback.
He lines up wherever they tell him to, but Freddie was so candid when he was interviewed. They said, what about being in there running up inside? He said, there's some real big guys in there that could hurt you. Well, he just ran by a bunch of them.
And he gets Alabama a 1st down, their 1st of the game, with 2 minutes and 10 seconds in the scoreless 1st quarter of the FedEx Orange Bowl. They're at their own 45-yard line. And they go 2 tight ends for the first time. Terry Jones Jr. and Sean Draper. Jones on the right side, Draper on the near side. Zhao stumbles as he gives to Sean Alexander, and a marker is down. Alexander reaches the 48. He's knocked down there by Tommy Hendricks. We may have holding against Alabama, and another costly penalty for the Crimson Tide. They've had a whole bunch of those already. They're fourth. Holding will march the Tide back to their 34. They were getting up near midfield. And instead, this snap will come from their 34-yard line with time rolling under 2 minutes now in the first quarter. Alabama's 21st meeting with a Big Ten team. They're 13-7 all time against the Big Ten. Michigan has had great success against the SEC. 15-4-1, the mark for the Wolverines. Sal with the give to McClintock, the fullback. And they're making Alexander who gets the call, and barely managing the line of scrimmage, maybe a foot. Hanny Jones making the stop there on Sean Alexander, who Neil Callaway, his offensive coordinator, says one of the best open field runners he has ever seen. We'd like to see that at some point. But
I'm not sure we're going to get a chance. He is a great open field runner, but he hasn't gotten anything open. The only guy that's even seen a crease in this game so far is Freddie Millens, and I'm telling you, he electrifies this place every time he touches the ball.
Now in the shotgun, 4 wides, gets it off over the middle. There's Alexander. There's a little open field running, and he's hit at the 43-yard line. Dropped there by the 2 inside backers, Ian Gold and Hanny Jones. Alexander, that time with a little space and a little bit of a shake, and hit at the 43, where it will be 3rd and 12.
Yeah, he made a nice move, and he made a nice gain so they could have a 3rd and 12 situation. That's one of those 3rd and longs where you can't find anybody that's got a good play suggestion. The head coach looks around at the coordinator and all the offensive coaches, and they're looking off into space. There are no good calls on 3rd and 12.
Alexander checks out as Zhao stays in the shotgun. He's got 4 wides on 3rd and 12. 20 seconds of the first quarter. Time to deliver over the middle and incomplete, intended for Shamari Buchanan. He had all day, through behind Buchanan and a bit high, and it's 4th and 12 with 16 seconds in the quarter.
Nice job right there by Dante Ellington, the left tackle, who's moved over from the right tackle. Another rarity. We talked about Rashid playing middle linebacker. Here's an offensive lineman that's been starting all year, Dave. Nice pass protection that time, so his QB at least had a chance to throw it.
Patrick Morgan has averaged 39.5 on his first 2 punts. Diallo Johnson waiting at his 18-yard line for Michigan. Low snap, flag is down. Morgan shanks this one, and it goes straight over the Michigan bench on the far sideline. But a flag is down. That was a bad snap, but an even worse punt by Morgan.
Alabama made another rookie mistake by not having 7 men on the line of scrimmage for their punt team. The rule is very clear. You got to have 7 up there. Here's the official's call.
Illegal formation.
Yep. They'll decline it. They'll decline it because of the shank punt. And now Michigan has terrific field position. And one of the most important things in football, I think it's second only to ball security, is field position. As a rule, if you get a chance to start a drive inside the opponent's 50-yard line, and this is on the 42, your chances of scoring go up to about 70%.
This will be the final play of the first quarter at the Alabama 42. Michigan split backs, and Brady with the snap gives, and again Anthony Thomas, nothing at all. Ridden back into his own backfield by Miguel Merritt, and that ends the first quarter. Tonight's game is brought to you by FedEx. Next time, send it FedEx and be absolutely sure. That's the end of the first quarter with a score: Alabama nothing, Michigan nothing. You're listening to the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. Back for the second quarter at Pro Player Stadium, Miami. Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, Dave Ryan. Scoreless so far in the FedEx Orange Bowl. You've seen a lot of things, but have you ever seen a punt that wasn't deflected go -1 yard?
I saw some on some of my bad snaps. Our punters would kick them funny, get chewed out, and then they'd look at me real funny.
Let's go down quickly to Dave Ryan.
Played great football in the first quarter this year, outscoring opponent 70-24, while allowing first quarter points in just 4 games this year. Amazing numbers. It's all part of a good start. When they score first this year, the Wolverines are 7-0. 18-1 over the past 3 years when they had the first points of the game. Now, offensive coordinator Mike DeBoer says early in the game he would have loved to establish a long punishing drive as they've done so well, running Anthony Thomas right up the middle or around the side if they have to. That didn't happen in the first quarter. We'll have to see how they react. And Dave and Bill, I got to say, not a lot of emotion on the Michigan sideline at all. They appear a little bit shell-shocked at how well and how fast Alabama's playing.
They're being stoned up front in addition to the Alabama speed, which we predicted. The speed of the game is just a little much for both offenses.
Rashid up on the line as if to blitz. Now backs off 2nd and 11. Shea in motion, and there are flags and early movement on the line, and it looked like the right guard for Michigan, Chris Zeman, who's already been hit with a 15-yard face mask. Alabama applauding the upcoming call.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Both offenses, Dave, are absolutely discombobulated. They are just not poised. I mean, Zeman has no excuse. The guy's a senior. We've seen him play many, many good games in the big house, in the big games. But the Alabama defense has got them rocked back on their heels.
2nd and 16. This comes from the tied 48-yard line. Shea went in motion. Give us to Thomas. Give to Terrell coming near on the reverse. Terrell 50, 45. Flag is down. Now reverses his field to the 42 and hit there. Well, we've got a flag down as Cornelius Griffith and Salim Rashid corral David Terrell. In the first quarter, each team only 1 first down, 26 total yards for Michigan, 34 total yards for Alabama. This will be a Michigan walk back again on another penalty. Penalties have been major factors for both teams. That time, Terrell took the handoff from Thomas. Looked like he had an open field, but Bill, as you're talking about, these defenders are so fast that open field doesn't stay open very long, and the call is holding Michigan.
Yep, it looked like Marcus Knight, who is an Alabama native, engineering student, and a terrific player for Michigan, trying to block for his teammate, just grabbed a little cloth. Tom Brady threw a nice block, and like you say, it looked like he was really headed for open spaces, and suddenly 6 crimson jerseys smoked him. He disappeared from view. He made about 5 yards.
So much for Alabama territory. Shotgun snap, Brady on 2nd and 27. Time to look. Not anymore. Hit for a loss at the 32. He is sacked by Jarrett Johnson, one of these freshman Alabama defenders out of Chiefland, Florida, who they say has made as many big plays as anybody on that defense over their last 2 or 3 games when they've come together so well.
Jarrett Johnson lined up at defensive end, got his shoulder pads down up underneath the blocker, and just carried him to the ball carrier. He's got Backus, who's the best offensive lineman that Michigan has. It was a stunt. He got a little help because the tackle came out and he looped underneath. Backus got a little off balance, and I mean, Jarrett got there like he was shot out of a cannon.
And Michigan is going to get a delay penalty. Stayed in the huddle too long on 3rd and 35, and now they'll take volunteers on the Michigan.
On the offense. 5 yards.
On the Michigan sideline. For what will be a 3rd and 40. Who's got a good 3rd and 40 call, guys?
Remember I said it was 3rd in Atlanta a while ago? Now it's 3rd in Minneapolis for these guys. I mean, you get the ball at the 42-yard line, you have got to capitalize. Michigan is matching Alabama in the penalty category, and they're matching them for a lack of cohesion on offense.
4 wide, shotgun for Brady. 3rd and 40. Brady looks over the middle and has Knight, who is dropped immediately at his 39-yard line. They needed to get to the 32 of Alabama. That's how they marched backwards on the penalties and the sacks. Rashid the stop, another failure to pick up a 3rd down for the Wolverines. They're now 0 for 5 converting 3rd downs, and Epstein will kick for the 4th time. Millen standing at his 27. Epstein gets a perfect snap. Lays into this one. This should be his best effort of the night. Nose down, wobbly spiral. Millen backs up to his 16. Heads right up the middle of the field and wrapped up by Ian Gold at the 23. The punt went 46 by Epstein. The return by Millen goes 6 yards. And with 12:57 to go in the second quarter, Still 0-0, Michigan and Alabama. You're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl. Welcome back to the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl, brought to you by FedEx. Next time, send it FedEx and be absolutely sure. On first downs in this first half, Alabama has averaged 2 yards. Michigan has averaged 15 inches. 0.4 yards. I think that's about 15 inches.
Now, did Kirk measure that?
Yes, he did. Kirk McCarley, statistician, Dave Robinson, our spotter. And we await the arrival of both offenses. Buses apparently still pulling up
there.
outside.
There's somebody in their jerseys down there, but they're really not playing like the offenses of these two teams, what you'd expect. Even with the great defenses, they got to play better than this.
Tyler Watts turned at quarterback. Bama, 1st and 10, their 24-yard line. Offset eye in the backfield. Motion from the tight end right to left. Terry Jones Jr. give on the counter. Alexander gets outside 30, 35, up the sideline 40, midfield 45 of Michigan. Sean Alexander shows up for 32 yards.
Just a matter of time when you got great backs on the field. Will Cuthbert, the right guard, did a wonderful job. Pulled to his left, turned it up the field. Got a nice block on James Hall, number 56. Outside linebacker for Michigan. And there went Sean doing what he does so well, that open field running.
Alexander with that 32-yarder, his 5th carry, he's now totaled 43 yards. He pretty much is the Alabama offense right now. There's movement up front as they line up, and Rob Renas, the nose tackle, made contact. We'll find out if he was drawn offside.
Dead ball, illegal snap on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
I'm guessing you know all that about illegal snaps.
Well, I never made one.
Never a practitioner.
I made a lot of snaps. An illegal snap, Davey, I probably did. I got hit in the head so many times I can't remember. Illegal snap means that you don't pull it up in one smooth motion. If you snap the ball in a herky-jerky fashion or pull it part of the way up and then the rest of the way, you'll be flagged.
So this snap coming from the Michigan 49 in the eye. It's now 1st and 15. Motion by Antonio Carter. Toss left. Again, Alexander. Midfield breaks the tackle. 40, 35, and pulled down just shy of the first down. Sean Alexander a pickup of 14 on 1st and 15. And Ian Gold, the inside linebacker, chased him down and maybe prevents a touchdown.
Yep, Ian Gold is all over the field. But he's not going to be able to stop these long runs unless somebody gets contained out there. And that time, terrific blocking by Terry Jones Jr., the tight end, and Dustin McClintock, that big old fullback we were telling you about. Just knocked people down.
Alabama on the march now. 2nd and 1 from the 35. Watts another run to the left side by Alexander. Now cuts it back and is right at the first down marker where he's brought down at the 34. Eyeballing it from here, looks like he should have the first down. Another tackle by Ian Gold, who not only has turned in a bunch of those already, but the Michigan first down on the fake punt when they snapped it to him as the up back. This may be close enough for a measurement of the 34.
He came into this game with 191 career tackles, Dave, among the leaders all time for Michigan. Had 83 on the season, and it seems like he's had 15 already tonight, although I'm sure that's an exaggeration. He's probably had 5 or 6 tackles already. That time, a much better job by James Hall playing the end position or outside linebacker. He really jacked up the big fullback, McClintock, and that's not easy to do. Short game, but it was enough for the first.
They stretched the chains, and by maybe an inch, it is enough for an Alabama first down. Far hash mark. They'll take the snap at the Michigan 34. Scoreless, 11-17, second quarter of the FedEx Orange Bowl. Offset eye, motion by the tight end Jones. They're coming after him on a corner blitz, and Watt steps up, has room. 30, 25, heads to the far sideline. Another Alabama first down to the 23, a gain of 11. Blitzing was cornerback James Whitley and Ian Gold, and Watts seems to sense that. Steps up, finds all kinds of room on the same side of the field where Alexander's had his good runs on this drive, on the left side.
Tyler Watts played for a wonderful football coach, Rick Rhodes, at Pelham High School there in Alabama, and was very, very highly recruited. And one of the reasons is because he is so mobile. Terrific athletic ability, escaped the blitzers. Nice game.
1st and 10, Alabama at the Michigan 23. Watts comes to the line, looks over the Michigan defense, and calls timeout. Timeout, Alabama, with 11:05 to go in the second quarter. Tied, and Michigan are scoreless, but Alabama has a good drive going. This is the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. Back in a scoreless FedEx Orange Bowl, Alabama driving. They'll have a 1st and 10 coming from the Michigan 23.
And when the Alabama coaches talked about the alternation of their quarterbacks, Zhao and Watts, this is what they meant. If you can just keep moving them back and forth, sooner or later somebody will get a hot hand, maybe both of them. If somebody takes over and begins to dominate the game, he gets to play longer.
Let's send it down to Dave Bryant.
Well, guys, Michigan players say there are some parallels in facing Alabama's Sean Alexander and the matchup they had back in September against the Heisman Trophy winner Ron Dayne of Wisconsin. Michigan safety Tommy Hendricks says it may be harder, though, because Alexander is more agile, more elusive than Dayne is. They have to watch how quickly Alexander can sidestep a tackler and make people miss, even when they have a clear shot at him. Remember, guys, what Michigan did against Ron Dayne, 88 yards on the ground that day.
Alabama up to the line now on 1st and 10. Watts has to step up, gets away from Josh Williams. He'll keep again. 20-15, 10 runs into his tight end, Jones. He's to the 7. He might have scored if he didn't run into Terry Jones there. And he's down after a pickup of 16 yards. His second big scramble on this drive, and it's 1st and goal, tied from the 7.
He really looked like a fine running back on that play, Dave. Josh Williams was clean on him. It was a naked bootleg where he fakes a running play, comes out to the side on his own with no blocker. Josh Williams had him dead to rights. He gave him a marvelous move, planted his outside foot, and exploded. And like you say, he got knocked down by his own man.
1st and goal, Alabama. They go 2 tight ends, 2 wideouts right side, and they run to the right side with Alexander. Looks for room, nothing there, cuts it back to the 5 and maybe inside the 5, where James Hall, the senior rush linebacker, the second all-time sack leader in Michigan history, makes the stop on Sean Alexander. Until right then, Bill, what had marked this series is the big gains had come on that left side of the Alabama line where they're missing Chris Samuels, the Outland winner. That's where the freshman Dante Ellington has had to switch from right to left tackle, but that's where they've gotten most of their business on this possession.
He's playing real well. He's really blocking well. I don't think it's bothered him moving over there. 2nd
and goal from the 5. Watts with another give to Alexander. He will walk in for a touchdown, almost untouched. Terrific blocking by the Crimson Tide. Touchdown, 5 yards, Sean Alexander.
Well, this time the right tackle, Bart Ralston, who's a redshirt freshman. We keep saying that word, freshman, just caved in the right side, and Sean could have walked in. And that's the first time we've seen a hole that big this night, Dave.
On for the extra point try is Ryan Flutner, who missed 4 out of 25. The high snap is handled by Patrick Morgan, and the kick is good. Sean Alexander, during the regular season, 19 touchdowns, and he scores the first touchdown for Alabama with 9:48 to go in the second quarter. The Tide 7, Michigan nothing. You're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl.
With Dave Barnett and Bill Curry up in the booth, this is Dave Ryan on the sidelines. So the FedEx Orange Bowl, 9:48 to go here in our quarter. It's a 7-0 Alabama lead, and we're joined by Chris Samuels, the Outland Trophy winner, unable to play tonight. Unfortunately, not in uniform. How frustrating is it, Chris, to have to sit here and watch?
It's very frustrating. You know, I love my teammates, and I'll be out there any day for them, scrapping and fighting with them. But, you know, at this point, the offense is starting to take control, and everything's starting to fall in place. They were struggling at first, so, you know, the offense is picking it up. So I'm kind of calming down a little bit over here. You know, I wish I could get out there and play, though.
Let's wait for the kickoff. Chris, we'll ask you a couple more questions. Dave?
Lane Bearden leads into this one, and it will go down to the 1-yard line where Walter Cross has it, brings it up the side of the 20 to the 25, and Michigan will start from there, return to 23. Dave.
So, Chris, tell us about the knee now. We understand from your trainers talking to them tonight that you're probably going to have it scoped next week, but beyond that, things looking okay?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I don't think it's nothing serious at all. Had 2 MRIs done, and it wasn't any serious damage on the inside. It's just a little fluid on it and a little swelling, so I'll be fine.
Chris, Dante Ellington playing pretty well for you, Lannis Baxley, and also Bart Ralston. All those guys kind of filling in at left tackle. What are you telling them?
Well, you know, I'm just telling the guys to keep their hands on the opponent, keep moving their feet, and just keep on fighting hard. You know, Dante, he's doing so well. He looks like he's doing a little better than me out there.
Chris, great to see you. Good luck. Happy New Year.
Okay, thank you.
Dave, back upstairs.
On first down and incompletion, Tom Brady gunning it near side, incomplete, intended for Marquise Walker. Michigan second and 10 from their 25. They trail 7-0 after the 5-yard touchdown run by Sean Alexander. We have 9:33 to go in the second quarter of the FedEx Orange Bowl. Michigan breaking the huddle with Knight coming to the inside slot on the left side. Walker is on the near side, wide right. Terrell and Johnson are both wide on the other side. They give up the middle. Anthony Thomas backs his way to the 30, to the 32. His best run so far without a flag to mar the proceedings. And Jared Johnson, the freshman defensive end, makes the stop on Anthony Thomas. Michigan has got to get Thomas still looking like Alexander now looks for Alabama.
You're exactly right. Like I said a while ago, it's only a matter of time. You're not going to, however well you play defensively, you're not going to keep a great back down all night long. Thomas broke tackles there.
0 for 5 on third downs. They're 3rd and 3. 3 wide outs on the right side, 1 left. Brady has the snap, shotgun, throws. It's complete to Thomas, 30-35. He'll have a first down, and a flag comes from way back in the Alabama secondary. The tackle made by Gerald Dixon on the near sideline on the swing pass to Anthony Thomas, who, like Alexander, a very fine pass receiver. It's going to be against Michigan, illegal block. So they wipe out another nice gain. Here's the call from Chuck McFerrin.
Illegal block in the back. 10-yard penalty from spot of the foul. Still 3rd down.
Wow. Michigan just keeps on shooting themselves in the foot. It doesn't matter how fast you draw your gun if you fire it into your own insole.
I don't know about that call. They got it on Diallo Johnson, who looked like he pulled up and did not make an illegal block against Dixon, but where the official threw it to him 20 yards away, he saw contact. Replay, I'm not sure. Here's the snap. Brady throws complete. Hit immediately as Knight dropped on the spot at the 30 by Marcus Spencer. So again, Michigan having to punt, and it'll be 4th and about 4.
And what we're seeing is the Ellis Johnson strategy, the defensive coordinator for Alabama, playing more zone this year so that his speedy defensive backs are facing the ball, and when they break on the ball, they explode through the ball carrier.
Millens at his 31, Epstein's 5th punt of this first half. They come after him, he gets it off, and Millens at the 31 makes the catch, heads to the middle, to the 35, to the 40, coming near side to the 45, 50, 45 of Michigan, and driven out of bounds there. And a flag on that side. It's the Alabama bench, and a late hit, I think, coming on Epstein, the punter, who got off a 38-yarder. Millens brings it back 24, and we may have another 15 tacked on at the end of this. Not a very intelligent spot for that to happen if you're Hayden Epstein. You're surrounded by about 80 or 90 crimson jerseys.
And they were not happy at all about their dart, their lightning bug, being hit out of bounds.
So the personal foul call That will put Alabama in even better shape. They're leading 7-0 as it is with 7:53 to go in the first half. Epstein called for the late hit, and that will move 1st and 10 for the Tide up to the 31 of Michigan.
Honest to goodness, that Millens is lightning in a bottle. I mean, he has escaped. He was down that sideline, Dave, and should have not been able to run that far on that short of punt.
7:53 to go. Second quarter, 7-0 Alabama. This is the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. Back in Miami, Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, Dave Ryan at the FedEx Orange Bowl. Alabama leading Michigan 7-0. And after a big punt return by Freddie Millens and 15 yards on a late hit against Hayden Epstein, the Michigan punter, Alabama lined up in the I 1st and 10 from the 31 of Michigan. Andrew Zhao taking his turn at quarterback. In motion is Tim Bowen. Zhao is back looking over the middle and feathers it to Bowens at the 10 of the Wolverines. It is first down, a gain of 22 yards. Bowens in motion. What a touch that time by Zhao. And they will give Alabama 1st and goal from the 9 of Michigan.
And really a significant move by the Alabama offensive staff. The offensive coordinator, Neil Callaway, back in there with Andrew Zhao, coming right out on 1st down, throwing the football. And what they're saying is, Andrew, hey, man, we believe in you, too. And he's taking them right down close.
Here's the snap. 1st down give. Alexander heads right 10 to the 6-yard line and dropped there hard by Ian Gold and Todd Howard. And Ian Gold continues to range sideline to sideline in the manner of former Alabama linebacker Leroy Jordan, about whom Bear Bryant said if they're between the sidelines, Leroy will get him. That's kind of how Ian Gold is playing tonight.
Yes, but Ian needs some help because Michigan's not holding up at the corners. Alabama's able to get those corners, and they're getting Sean Alexander outside, and that's why these long gains. And in that case, that was a decent gain from inside the 10.
10th carry, 68 yards now for Alexander. 2nd down give again to Alexander. Huge hole, walks in, another untouched. Sean Alexander touchdown for Alabama. He has a 5-yarder and now a 6-yarder on what looked pretty much to be identical plays. Michigan did not defend either one.
And Michigan's just getting knocked in the nickel seats, Dave. That time, Sean Draper, tight end, Bart Ralston at tackle, and Will Cuthbert just dominated the right side. 13-0,
and the extra point is good by Ryan Klugner. 14-0. Alabama. In the first quarter, a defensive standoff. Neither offense could move, and that has now changed. And how has it changed for the Tide? What's happened is on the left side, they're getting great blocking by Dante Ellington in Chris Samuel's spot. And then on the right side, when they come that way, Landis Baxley, who was Samuel's backup on the left side, had to start at right tackle, redshirt freshman, doing the job there as well.
Yeah, Landis Baxley and Bart Ralston. Those two are alternating at the right side. That time it was actually Baxley in the game. And Dave, they didn't just block them. They mauled them. They knocked them in the end zone and just made it another walk-in. I'm surprised. I'll guarantee you the Michigan defense is surprised. And Jim Herman, defensive coordinator for Michigan, is not happy about this performance.
Coming up, Steve Cangelosi with the FedEx Orange Bowl halftime show. We'll have all the New Year's Day Bowl scores, highlights, plus the rest of the sports news coming up at halftime here on the home of the Bowl Championship Series, ESPN Radio. Lane Bearden's kick fielded at the 3-yard line. And the return to the 26 by Walter Cross, and Michigan will start after his return of 25, and there's some extracurricular shoving going on. Alabama's Jeremy Walker got in a push, but I don't see any flags, so they'll let it go, and Michigan has it 1st and 10 from their 27. And with 6:40 to go, trailing now 14-0, they need to get something going. Brady, 8 of 11, but almost all short stuff, 33 yards. All he has on those 8 completions, and on 7 rushing attempts, Anthony Thomas has a total of 13 yards. They line up in the offside eye, motion by the tight end, Sean Thompson. He lines up on the right side. Now coming motion right to left is Marcus Knight. And Drew Henson is in for a series and gets the swing pass complete to Thomas on the left side of the 27. That's the line of scrimmage. They get nothing as Miguel Merritt chases down Anthony Thomas. We did not expect to see Drew Henson maybe ever tonight, and we see him midway in the second quarter.
Another significant move when you got two good quarterbacks and your starter's not getting it done. Even though he's got some completions, they're not moving the ball, then you go to your backup guy.
No gain. And 2nd and 10. Henson with a split backfield draw play. Thomas up the middle. Maybe a yard this time. Maybe. Now this is a Michigan offensive line that's got 3-time All Big Ten left tackle Jeff Backus, 3-time All Big Ten left guard Steve Hutchinson. Big guys, experienced guys up front. David Brandt, the center, Chris Seaman, the right guard, Ben Mast, the right tackle. They're just not getting any type of room for Thomas, and now they are 3rd and 9, and they're 0 for 6 converting third downs from the 28. 5.5 minutes in the half. Henson, the baseball star, future New York Yankee, in the shotgun, has the snap, now steps up, has room, will keep to the 30, to the 35, and dives, and may have a first. I think he's going to come up short by a couple of feet. He needed the 37. They're going to mark him at the 36. It will be 4th and 1. Chris Horn there to cover it. But you see the athleticism that has the Yankees drooling, and they can't wait to get their hands on Drew Henson, but he's got 2 more years as the quarterback of the future for Lloyd Carr. So they'll again come up short and have Hayden Epstein on the field, and Millens, who had a nice return, aided by the 15-yard penalty on Epstein. Millens waiting for this kick. It is a beauty. Spiral backs him up to the 19, and he makes a fair catch at the 20. 44 yards by Hayden Epstein. So with 4:40 to go in the second quarter, Alabama now leading Michigan 14-0. You're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl. We're back in Miami, 4:40 to go in the first half. Alabama leading Michigan 14-0. And the story down there on that Michigan bench where Dave Ryan is eyeballing those Wolverines is, in Bill Curry parlance, what he's seeing is a bunch of brook trout stares. Now, you can now explain what a brook trout stare is. It's not good.
It's not good. It's kind of like one of those trouts when you pull him up out of the water and he gives you that look that they have. It's also called deer in the headlights. They're just not with it, and they're getting whipped up front on both sides of the ball.
From the 20 in the eye, Tyler Watson, quarterback for the Tide, on 1st and 10. In motion from the left to the right side is Tim Bowens, and the toss sweep goes to Sean Alexander, hit after a gain of 1, maybe 2 at the 21, close to the 22-yard line. Ian Gold continues to go sideline to sideline, and he is joined on that tackle by James Hall. Total yardage now. Remember, it was basically negligible for either team in the first quarter, but now Alabama has 149 total yards and Michigan at 53. This will be a 2nd and 9, but now there's an indication against Alabama.
It's tripping. They're going to call tripping on the blockers for Alabama. You can't reach out and leg whip. It's something that used to just sort of be winked at, but now when you reach out with your back, so let's just say that a linebacker, one of those quick linebackers, runs behind you and you reach back and catch him with your ankle and trip him, that's illegal, and that was the call.
So they will take this next snap just across the 10 on the far side, the far hash mark, and it'll be 1st and 19 Alabama. 3 wideouts. Tyler Watts with Alexander, the lone setback, gets it on the handoff and heads left. He's hit at the 5 and will be guided ever so gingerly out of bounds by Gold and James Whitley at the 8. That time, the Michigan defense looking the way the Alabama defenses looked pretty much this entire first half, and Alexander at the 8-yard line, having to run out of room on the far sideline and stepped out. It'll be a loss of 2. It'll be 2nd and 21.
Now, David, I very seldom disagree with you, but there's nothing ever so gingerly going on out there between those white lines. I guess he was a little more gentle getting him out of bounds so as not to get flagged. But, I mean, there's some hitting going on in this game. Most of it for the last quarter having been done by the guys in crimson.
Watts comes up to the line of scrimmage, takes one look at the Michigan defensive alignment and calls timeout. And this timeout is the second call, one left for Alabama, and it comes with 4:06 to go in the quarter number 2 here in Pro Player Stadium, where Alabama leads the Wolverines 14-0. This is the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. In the first half, Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, Dave Ryan at Pro Player Stadium. Alabama with a timeout. They're talking about a 2nd and 21 at their own 9. The line to gain, the 20. Let's pause right now, 10 seconds for station identification. This is the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. Alabama that time, an interesting alignment. They were going to have Freddie Millins in the backfield for the second time at a halfback, and Sean Alexander was going to basically trade places and line up at a wide receiver. You know, you think of Michigan and Alabama as two pretty conservative offenses, not really anymore. Now that's how they come out again. Millins at tailback, Alexander at a wideout. Now motioning out to another wideout, tight end Terry Jones Jr. In motion out of the backfield is Millins. From his 1-yard line, Watts guns it, and it is caught at the 33 by Sean Alexander. A gain of 24, first down Alabama. But a flag down. Watts all day. Alexander, who lined up wide left at a wide receiver spot, had to hold up a little bit, throw slightly behind him, but it made the catch. And if the play stands, which it will not, well, it would have been first down Alabama.
Yep, we had illegal formation. Somebody didn't get lined up quickly enough, didn't get where he was supposed to be. An illegal shift occurred, moving at the same time or moving at the snap of the ball. When you move that many people, you've got to be set for at least a full count before you snap the ball. It was a brilliant call and beautifully executed. And a shame if you're an Alabama fan or player that it did not come to fruition. It would have been a first down, Dave. Now they're way back inside their 5-yard line.
7th penalty against the Tide for 52 yards, and they will snap from their own 5, 2nd and 25, and they give up the middle of the fullback, McClintock, who struggles to get back to the line of scrimmage. Dustin McClintock hit at the 5, and now flags coming down again, and this is a good 8-10 seconds after that play ended.
Yeah, it's an incredible mistake. Incredible mistake. Just a peak fit. Todd Howard, number 3, just took a shot at the back of one of the Alabama players after the play, like you say, 8 or 10 seconds late.
Todd Howard, the right cornerback, who is a sophomore from Bolingbrook, Illinois. Here's the call from Chuck McFerrin.
Dead ball, personal foul on the offense. Dead ball, personal foul on the defense. Those fouls canceled. Down remains the same.
Well, the guy that took the shot for Bama was wide receiver Antonio Carter, so offsetting penalties.
Well, Antonio took one before Todd did. Now he's being pulled, and he'll have a nice conversation with his coaching staff. Usually what happens is the guy that retaliates gets called. That was Todd.
3rd and 24. Alabama at their 6-yard line. Watts will take the snap up under center, offset eye, gives it up the middle to Sean Alexander, to the 10, to the 14, and down there. He needed to get to the 30. It'll be 4th and 16 coming, but Alexander gets another nice pickup of 8. He's now 14 carries, 82 yards. Cato June, the free safety, made the stop. On to punt it away will be Patrick Morgan. He will stand a yard deep in his own end zone. Waiting for it, Diallo Johnson from Michigan at his 45. They've had very little in the way of field position. They should get some good stuff out of this one. A high kick, nose up spiral, now turns at the 50, and Johnson makes the fair catch, and we're going to have a halo violation penalty. What would a college football game be these days without the now traditional halo violation penalty? 36-yard punt. It is called at least once a week. Do they need to revisit that? Is that an unrealistic expectation to make sure that you stay no closer than 2 yards away from that receiver? Can you do that consistently?
You can do it, Dave. Here's the call.
That is the call. Violation by Alabama's Herschel Bolden. Got too close to Diallo Johnson.
You can do it, and the coaches work on it hours and hours to be sure that the punt coverage team understands how to stay away from that guy and stay outside the 2 yards. A lot of carelessness here in the fine points of football tonight. Not unusual in a bowl game.
Back in after a Drew Henson series as Tom Brady has the snap, and the shotgun pass is caught, hit immediately at the 37 as Marquise Walker. But a pickup of about 8. Gerald Dixon made the tackle, and joined by Adam Cox, outside linebacker. So Drew Henson got one series. He had a nice scramble, which came up just short of the first down. Tom Brady comes right back in. We expected to see mostly, if not exclusively, Brady, the senior in his final game out of San Mateo, California. On 2nd and 2, both Walker and Knight go to the right side. David Terrell has been pretty quiet so far. Comes to the short left side. Thomas is the lone set back motion by Shea. Now back motion the other way. And Brady will hand it to Thomas. Hit as he heads right for no gain. Another 3rd and short coming up for Michigan.
Yep, and they started this drive on the 44-yard line of Alabama. And when you are a bowl team going for your 10th win and you get the ball repeatedly in enemy territory, sooner or later you've got to cash in. Alabama did it each of the last 2 times they got the ball, both times for touchdown.
4 wides, Brady shotgun, 3rd and 2. 36 of the tie. Brady has the snap, fires complete to Walker, turns, keeps his balance at the 31. He'll be down at the 30. At last, Michigan converts a 3rd down. They were 0 for 7. Adam Cox brings down Marquise Walker. This Michigan offense set a school record this year. They averaged 255 passing yards per game. Brady is 10 of 13, but it's all dinks. It's 47 yards, all they have through the air. In a hurry, minute 16, no huddle, ready to snap it from the Alabama 30. Brady again in the gun, fires right side. Johnson hit immediately after a short catch at the 26 by Milo Lewis, the fine left corner, junior college transfer out of San Francisco City College, and timeout called by Michigan with a minute 4.
Brilliant display of just pure tackling by Alabama all night long. One-on-one tackles in the open field. And again, the strategy of defensive coordinator Ellis Johnson obviously working to near perfection. Even when the field position is really good for Michigan, they don't get much because the tackling is good. One-on-one or gang tackling.
ESPN Radio's exclusive coverage of college football's Bowl Championship Series continues tomorrow night at 7:45 p.m. Eastern as 3rd-ranked Nebraska meets 5th-ranked Tennessee in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Steve Levy, Todd Christensen, and Holly Rowe have the call. And then on Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern, Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Karsten bring you the national championship showdown between #1 Florida State and #2 Virginia Tech from the Nokia Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. It's only on ESPN Radio, the worldwide leader in sports. 14-0 lead for Alabama. 1:04 to go in the first half of the FedEx Orange Bowl. Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, and Dave Ryan at Pro Player Stadium. It will be for Michigan a 2nd and 7 from the 27 of Alabama.
And Dave, the story of this game, the 14 points have come. Yes, Sean Alexander's a good runner. Yes, there have been a couple of nice throws and catches, but it's the offensive line. It's those young linemen coming through for Alabama. The offensive linemen, Dante Ellington, Bart Ralston, Lanus Baxley have come through for their team, along with the guards and centers, and they're really doing a good job of clearing the way. The Michigan offensive line is yet to get real consistent movement on the defense of Alabama.
Michigan now huddling. They have Anthony Thomas out as they go 4 wides on 2nd and 7. 1:04 to go when they snap it in the second quarter. They trail the Tide 14-0. Brady has it. Looks right. Has all day. Now guns it over the middle for Terrell. Makes the catch. Touchdown. Tom Brady finds Terrell on the post at the goal line for a 27-yard touchdown. He beat Marcus Spencer, the strong safety, and he beat him badly.
When you're getting 4 wide receivers, what you're trying to do is to create a mismatch. So now you got a strong safety, Marcus Spencer, on your best wide receiver, David Terrell, and he just couldn't stay with him on the skinny post. Perfect protection, throw and catch.
For the extra point now, Hayden Epstein, and his kick is good. Life at last from the Michigan offense. 27 yards, Tom Brady to David Terrell, their sophomore prize recruit a couple of years ago out of Richmond, Virginia, where he was a parade All-America, one of the top 3 wide receiver recruits in the country, and their leading receiver this year with 61 catches for 888 yards and 4 touchdowns. First team All-Big Ten as selected by the coaches. He had 4 100-yard games, the school record 5 by Anthony Carter and Ty Streets. And right now, Terrell with only 2 catches, that one good for the touchdown, total of 30 yards. And how important was that, Bill, with 58 seconds to go in the half for Michigan to get points, and they get not just points, they get exactly what they wanted, a touchdown.
We'll go back to that deer in the headlights and Brook Trout stare thing. That disappears with a big play. You get good field position, you start to drive at the 44-yard line, you capitalize. What good football teams do is answer the opposition. Alabama scores. Michigan had to get something on the board before the half, I think, for morale purposes.
And they did. Dave Ryan, are the stares still evident, or is business picked up on the Michigan bench?
Well, right now, guys, looks of excitement on the players' faces, and finally, really, a spark, a little bit of sign of life. It was good, too, guys, for Michigan to score into that end zone, because that's where the majority of the Wolverine fans are. They really exploded. Actually, it goes back to the drive Alabama had when they were stuck deep in their own end. Guys like Diallo Johnson, Marquise Walker, 2-star wide receivers in Michigan, trying to get guys pumped up. Some high fives. That really got the energy going in the right direction. And a TD catch by David Terrell capped that all off, Dave.
And the Alabama lead is cut in half, 14-7 with 58 seconds to go in the half. Epstein is set to kick deep to Freddie Millens and Arvin Richard. Lays into this one, a low-line drive, which Millens takes one backward and is one. Now heads to the middle, 10-15 to the 20, and swarmed up to 22 by the Michigan special teams after a return of 19 yards.
I'm doing my best, Dave. I can't tell the folks how he looks running with that football, but it is exciting. I mean, he is a rocket. What did I say, lightning in a bottle?
Yeah.
Lightning bug? Think of a water bug. I mean, just lightning, quick, agile, total control of his body and his hands.
Alabama with 51 seconds to go. 1st and 10, their own 22. They line up with both wideouts left side of the I formation. Zhao is the quarterback. He gives to Alexander, who is swarmed. Easier to count the white jerseys that weren't in on the tackle, and there were only 3. And the clock continuing to roll at 37 seconds. Alabama in no hurry to huddle or call timeout after a gain of 1 by Alexander. They will settle for the 14-7 lead, and Michigan will not call time either. Not much they could do about it, even if they did call their last timeout. 2nd and 8. They'll have to take the snap. Zhao to give to the fullback McClintock. He's hit right at the line of scrimmage. And that will be the final play of the first half. So Alabama dominates until the last Michigan possession. They move it down for a 27-yard touchdown, and Lloyd Carr is with Dave Ryan.
All right, Dave, thanks a lot. Coach Carr running out the sideline here. How big was that touchdown at the end of the first half for momentum?
I couldn't hear you, Dave.
How big was that touchdown, Coach, to get for momentum for you?
Well, I think it's a big play. We got to stop making so many penalties. We killed ourselves, but certainly that's a big play because it gets us back in the ballgame.
You're 0 for 7 on third down conversions throughout most of the first half. What was Alabama doing well?
Well, they didn't. They certainly shut down the running game, and when we did hit a couple of runs there, too many penalties. The big thing we've got to do is stopping ourselves, and we're going to have to be able to shut down the run a little bit better in the second half. Alexander had two scoring drives.
All right, Dave, and tonight's game is being brought to you by AT&T's one-rate 7-cent plan. Real long-distance savings made simple once again, all day, every day. Our score at halftime, Alabama 14, Michigan 7. You're listening to the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio.
Cangelosi in our College Game Day studios. Happy New Year. We hope you're enjoying ESPN Radio's Bowl doubleheader, the score at halftime of the FedEx Orange Bowl. Alabama 14, Michigan 7. Our coverage today began in Pasadena, and it's mission accomplished for the Great Dane. He cops the Heisman Trophy last month, and on this New Year's Day 2000, Wisconsin running back Ron Dane becoming just the third player ever to win 2 Rose Bowl MVP awards as the Badgers hold off Stanford 17-9. Wisconsin, the first Big Ten school ever to win back-to-back Rose Bowls, and for Dane, a major milestone to boot. More on that in a moment. But early on, the Stanford D, the story, with defensive end Willie Howard playing with torn ligaments in his right knee and icing the knee between series. The Cardinal would hold Wisconsin to a first-half field goal, and with just over 2 minutes left, second quarter, Stanford cracks the end zone.
Orchard, the quarterback. And the handoff. It's going to be a touchdown.
Charlie Steiner's call, but the extra point fails. Wisconsin down just 9-3 at the half, and from here on, it's the Dane Show. Third quarter, second play from scrimmage. He's off to the races.
Dane breaks it at the 35, 40, 45, 50, and he may go all the way. Ron Dane to the 30, down and brought down from behind at the 10-yard line.
And while the NCAA doesn't recognize statistics from bowl games when compiling records, that 64-yard rumble makes Dane the first back ever to rush for 7,000 yards in a career. Turns out he was just getting warmed up. On this drive, the lead changes hands.
It is second down and 3. 4-yard line. Behind the I formation, the deep back is Ron Dane. The handoff is to Dane. Looking to circle left end, and he'll score. Touchdown!
Point after would make it 10-9 Wisconsin. Now to protect the lead, and special teams makes the difference. Stanford kicker Mike Baselli with a chance to get the Cardinal back on top in the third.
We'll call it 23 yards. Hash mark to the left. This to give Stanford the lead once again. Here's the snap. It's high. The place a kick. It's on its way. Blocked by Mike Eccles. Wisconsin recovers at the 8-yard line.
The Badgers hold, but they're not breathing easy. Dane would rush for 66 yards in the fourth quarter alone, but it's freshman quarterback Brooks Bollinger who pads the lead. 7 minutes and change left in regulation.
Third and goal, well inside the 1, out of the eye. Coons the blocking back, and it's a quarterback sneak, and it's a touchdown for Brooks Bollinger. 16-9 Wisconsin.
17-9 Wisconsin, your final score. Numbers on Ron Dane: 34 carries, 200 yards, back-to-back Rose Bowl titles for Wisconsin. But the first for the redshirt freshman Bollinger. Rob Stone with the Badger quarterback after the game.
How nice is it just to hand it to the Great Dane as the seconds weighing down? I think that's a great feeling. You know, a lot of things didn't go well for us on offense today, especially early, and I by no means played the best game of my life, but I think that the offensive line and Ron Dane just came through for us once again. Hey, you're an 18-year-old freshman. Can you really appreciate this? Yeah, I think I can. I've been here 2 years, and I've been kind of spoiled. I was redshirted last year, and 2 Rose Bowls the 2 years I've been here, so
to set history in anything, I think, is unbelievable, and we did that today.
What was the difference in the second half? You guys were a totally different team.
I think, whatever reason, sometimes things just don't work. I think their defense played great in the first half. They took away a lot of things that we did well, and I made some bad decisions and didn't really play as well as I would have liked, but came on the second half, and then guys just made plays when we needed to.
Brooks, congratulations. Go enjoy the celebration.
And thank you, Rob Stone. Brooks Bollinger, quarterback for the winning Wisconsin Badgers at the Rose Bowl. We've got the rest of the New Year's Day Bowl scoreboard straight ahead. Tonight's halftime show is brought to you by Jeep, makers of the Grand Cherokee, Cherokee and Wrangler, and by Quotesmith. Today's quote of the day is brought to you by Quotesmith.com, the only place on earth where you can get instant insurance quotes from over 300 top-rated companies. You're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl. Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome back to College Game Day and the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. I'm Steve Cangelosi. The score at halftime in Miami, Alabama 14, Michigan 7. As an Oklahoma Sooner, he was one of the most prolific tight ends in college football history. New Year's Day certainly brings back memories for Keith Jackson, not to be confused with the legendary broadcaster. This Keith Jackson had a knack for the big play and is inducted to the Orange Bowl Hall of Fame tonight. And he chatted with ESPN's Dave Ryan.
Thanks, Steve. We're joined by a former NFL great tight end, Keith Jackson, who's here and just been awarded the Hall of Fame membership for the Orange Bowl. I guess a huge honor for you for a tremendous career, not only at the college level, but in the NFL as well.
You know what, I tell you what, when you think about the fact I played in 4 Orange Bowls, but we threw the ball every other decade at Oklahoma, it's hard to believe that I'm getting an award. The excitement is that they looked down and saw the games I played in and saw the big plays that I made, and they decided I was worthy to be a part of this. I really want to thank FedEx and the Orange Bowl committee for selecting me.
Top memories of Orange Bowl games. You were in 4. You were in some big ones with a lot at stake.
You know what? The top memory I can think of now is when we played against Penn State in 1986. The game was really close, and it was 3rd down and 24. Jamel Holloway goes back to pass. I had one-on-one coverage because they blitzed, and I catch the ball and take it 71 yards to the end zone, and that breaks the game open, and we end up winning the national championship. You know, big games, they said big players show up in big games, and that was a big game for me.
You get a chance to talk with any of these guys, Michigan, Alabama, and if not, what about the matchup tonight?
I got a chance to talk to Sean Alexander earlier. He was just talking about life more than anything else. He's a great kid with a great attitude. I said the temperature is going to play a lot in the game. If it's really humid and really warm out here, I believe that Alabama had the edge. If it's cool, then the game goes back to being even. Whoever make the biggest plays of the team is going to win.
You won a Super Bowl with the Packers a few years back. You played in these huge Orange Bowl games with so much on the line. How would the top college game compare with the top pro game?
Well, the one thing about it, the excitement of college is unmatched. You know, you have all your hometown fans who've been there. The tickets doesn't cost as much. You got a guy, you know, who works a normal job to a bank president who comes to the game, and they all cheer and shout for you. If you lose the game, they're still your fans. There's no hardship. They still thank you. They realize that you're still a young kid. In the pro level, you're expected to win, and when you make mistakes, then, you know, goodbye, or you should have made this play, and all those bad things that people can say about you. So the excitement of the college game is far surpassed the excitement of pro football.
Keith Jackson, great seeing you. Good luck.
Thank you.
A lot of memories from Oklahoma for Keith Jackson, and congratulations being inducted into the Orange Bowl Hall of Fame. Oklahoma teams over the years, in particular at the time Keith Jackson was there, Brian Bosworth, Tony Casillas. Defense, the key, but on the other side of the ball, there was Keith Jackson. And we thank you for kicking off the year 2000 with us on ESPN Radio. We've got the New Year's Day scoreboard straight ahead. I'm Steve Cangelosi. This is the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio.
Rallied from the dead. 25 points down. They come back to beat the Boilermakers in overtime in the first overtime game in Purdue football history.
And it caps the greatest bowl comeback in NCAA history. Welcome back to College Game Day, everyone. Halftime of the Orange Bowl. I'm Steve Cangelosi. That was the call on Learfield Communications of Georgia's 28-25 Outback Bowl victory over Purdue. One that saw Boilermakers quarterback Drew Brees toss 4 touchdown passes, but It's Bulldogs kicker Hap Hines, who's carried off on his teammates' shoulders after the game-winning 21-yard kick.
It's not me, it's your team, it's your fans who come out and support you. It takes the whole package to pull this out. So, I mean, it's not one-man show. We just have a lot of guys on the team that don't want to lose and don't give up.
Great finish for a kicker who nearly lost his job for good in his sophomore season. The day's other fantastic finish, the Florida Citrus Bowl. Michigan State, Florida, and Spartans wideout Plaxico Burress a thorn in the Gators' side all day.
2nd and 8 for Michigan State. Here's a play-action pass by Burke. Throwing down toward Burris, the end zone. He's up in the air, and he brings it in for a touchdown. Again, he used that big height. He's got advantage over the Gator cornerbacks, and it's a touchdown pass of 21 yards, and Michigan State has taken the lead.
How it sounded on Clear Channel Communications. Burris with a Michigan State record 13 catches on the day, but it was Paul Ettinger's 39-yard field goal as time expires that gives the Spartans a 37-34 win. Florida's third straight defeat, the longest losing streak under Coach Steve Spurrier there. More enjoyable New Year's Day for rival Miami, facing Georgia Tech in Jacksonville at the Gator Bowl.
On 2nd and 4, they'll give it to Portis. Sneaks through 1, sneaks through 2, and Portis still has balance. 35-40. Claybrook chasing him from behind, but Portis will take it all the way for a Miami touchdown.
The call on WGST of the longest touchdown run in Gator Bowl history, 73 yards. Clinton Portis with a cloud of dust. Hurricanes hold the Heisman Trophy runner-up Joe Hamilton without a touchdown pass for the first time all season in a 28-13 win. The Cotton Bowl, mixed bag for Arkansas. Razorbacks athletic director Frank Broyles rushed to a nearby hospital after suffering chest pains. He'll remain overnight at Baylor University Hospital, and a spokesman there says he's fine, scheduled to return to Arkansas tomorrow. What cheered him up most? The game he left behind.
At the 37, Sterner hands to Cobbs, bounces outside 35. Ahmad Brooks missed an open field tackle down the right sideline 20. 10-5 touchdown.
Cedric Cobbs would find the end zone twice, and Arkansas drills Texas 27-6 for its first Cotton Bowl win in a quarter century. As we told you earlier, Ron Dayne, the Rose Bowl MVP, a second straight year with a 200-yard rushing performance in Wisconsin's 17-9 win over Stanford. Now, of course, the national championship on the line Tuesday night at the Sugar Bowl, the battle of undefeateds, Florida State and Virginia Tech. But the Seminoles may be without one of their most potent weapons, place kicker Sebastian Janikowski, who's projected by some as a first-round NFL draft pick. Florida State coach Bobby Bowden said not naming names, but he says he's suspending 2 or 3 of his starters from the Sugar Bowl for missing curfew last night. Janikowski was seen in the New Orleans French Quarter nearly 30 minutes after he was supposed to return to the team hotel. All Bowden says is that he'll make an announcement on suspensions sometime before Tuesday night's kickoff. Once again at the FedEx Orange Bowl, we are halftime, and it's Alabama with a 14-7 lead over Michigan. The difference so far for the Crimson Tide, by the way, making their record 50th bowl appearance tonight, Sean Alexander. He has a pair of touchdown runs in the game. Michigan answers back late in the second quarter with a Tom Brady touchdown pass, but it's Bama by 7 as we get set to start the second quarter. You're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl.
Welcome back to Miami, Pro Player Stadium, and the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl. Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, Dave Ryan, joined up in the booth by true Alabama greatness, Joe Willie Namath, and the reminiscences are flying fast between Bill Curry and Joe Namath. My first reminiscence, really, of a college football game was your Orange Bowl in 1965 against Texas, 21-17 Texas. Did you score, or did Tommy Nobis get you before you got to the goal line on the quarterback sneak at the end?
I was over the goal line, but I didn't score. You see, there's a major difference. You can break the plane, but unless they put the points up, it doesn't matter. And there was one official to put up that little finger and that trigger finger and said, you missed it by that much, you know? It was one of those hook 'em horn signals. But the good part of that whole thing, besides being with Coach Bryant and playing against Darrell Royal's team, was 4 of those guys from the Texas Longhorns, Jim Hudson and George Sauer and big boy Pete Lammons and John Elliott, became teammates of mine with the New York Jets. And without those guys, we wouldn't have won the big one in pro football against somebody else's team.
You can't remember. Why am I not surprised that came up? How long did it took him about a minute and a half to get to Super Bowl III.
Just momentarily, let's get down to the sideline, and Dave Ryan has Mike DuBose. Dave? We'll check in again later. That was also in Miami. That was roughly about 30 years ago. And who was the center for Baltimore?
A real fine center, I won't tell you that. They was absolutely outstanding. They had the best team in the history of the game at that time. But you know what? On any given day, it's a team that can focus and execute that comes out on top. You know, Alabama right now has a 14-7 lead, but that Michigan bunch over there, they didn't get here by accident. They can play.
Well, the Jets just flat beat us that day, and they deserve to win the game. And I'd like to end the conversation about Super Bowl III and talk about where I really came to admire and respect Joe, and that was in the Senior Bowl. 1964, he was the quarterback, and I got to be the center. And I found out that Joe Namath was a heck of a human being in addition to being a great player, and admired him even as painful as Super Bowl III was. I figured at least my buddy Joe was happy. And then Joe, something I want you to talk about is what the Alabama tradition has meant to you. When I was at Alabama, you were faithful. You've been that way through thick and thin, through the whole thing. That meant a lot to you, and all your success came, at least in part, because of that.
You know, everything I still believe to this day starts at home, with our mothers, our fathers, and what our environment is at home. I was a young man, 18 years old, went from Pennsylvania to a place I had never heard of, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and played under a football coach that I really didn't know until I got an opportunity to play under him. So for me, it starts with Paul Bear Bryant and how he treated me and how the players and the people there treated me and how I blended in. And to this day, it's home to me. You know, I just feel like we share a tremendous amount together. Alabama, you know, there's more people in Detroit, Michigan than there is in the whole state of Alabama 2 or 3 times. But somehow the tradition is so important to the families and the people of Alabama that the players are able to muster an effort out there together that they could rise up on occasion to beat other teams. And I believe it's attitude.
Yep, I think it is too, and I think you embody it as well as anybody, and we really appreciate you coming by.
Bill, it's always a treat, buddy.
Great to see you, Joe.
Bend over. Let me see. Bend over.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Well, we had a ball
we wouldn't
up
fumble,
here.
would we? We didn't have any
we'd at least get the exchange.
That's right. And they don't do that today in the big leagues.
Not
even.
too well.
Man, great pleasure, Joe Namath.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
All right. Take care, man.
We are just about set for the second half kickoff. Michigan will be kicking right to left to Alabama. 14-7 Crimson Tide over the Wolverines. It was 14-0 until a late 27-yard Tom Brady to David Terrell touchdown to get the Wolverines back in it. And Hayden Epstein has it teed up. And the second half is underway in the FedEx Orange Bowl. Freddie Millens returns it from the 1. Up the right hash mark to the 20 and spilled with a flag down at the 25-yard line. The tackle made for Michigan at the 20 by Andy Seckler, and Millens was able to flip over Seckler and get 5 airborne yards before he came to earth at the 25. Now we wait for him to sort out the penalty. Crimson Tide players indicating it will be against Michigan. And indeed, it will be, and it is a personal foul face mask call against the Wolverines, and that is not how Lloyd Carr wanted the second half to start.
The very last thing he said to our Dave Ryan down on the sideline was, we just got to stop committing these foolish penalties, and they begin the second half with a face mask, so the drive doesn't start at the 25, it starts at the 40-yard line, and again, every yard you start drives closer to the opponent goal line, you improve your chances of scoring.
At the 40, they're in the eye. And the quarterback is Andrew Zhao, who started for the Tide and alternated every series with Tyler Watts, and knocked backward. I mean 10 yards backward before he can make the snap even is Paul Hogan, the Alabama center. And Rob Renis, the man who delivered that blow.
Dead ball, offsides on the defense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
But Rob Renis got his money's worth.
Well, I don't know. I'd take that for 5 yards, a little shot in the shoulder pads. Rob is a great player, an All-American and an academic All-American, and chooses perhaps the worst possible time to add yet another 5-yard increment to the starting place for this Alabama drive. Not good football by Michigan, not sound.
And another flag, and this time it's Michigan defenders pointing across the line at Alabama offensive players, and this flag came as the Alabama offensive line was just getting there.
False start on the offense. 5 yards, still first down.
Right there where they originally lined up at the 40. It's going to be 1st and 10. But I mean, they were barely there long enough to even get an illegal procedure penalty, but they did. The halftime number is 158 Alabama total yards, 128 rushing, only 30 passing on 5 out of 8 through the air. Michigan, 97 total yards, 20 rushing, 77 passing, almost all of that on their scoring drive. They trail 14-7. Alabama fakes reverse. Pitch intended for Alexander is on the ground and recovered briefly by Michigan. They miss it again, and it rolls out of bounds at the 21. They had 2 shots at it, and they came up empty both times. It's a huge loss for Alabama, but it twice looked like it was a big recovery for Michigan. It's out of bounds at the 21. First, James Whitley had it, and then it bounced away to Jake Preisinger, and he couldn't pick it up either. So it's a huge break both ways. It's a big loss for Alabama, but it should be Michigan ball, Bill.
Should be Michigan ball inside the 20-yard line or thereabouts, or maybe in the end zone, had the Michigan players been able to hem it up.
2nd and 29. 2 wideouts far side. I formation. Zhao under center for the snap. And the give to Alexander. Up the middle. He is hit at the line by Dhani Jones, the senior from Potomac, Maryland. The inside linebacker with a big stop at the 19, where it will be 3rd and 21 for Alabama. First minute of the second half, 14-7. Crimson Tide over the Wolverines in the FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, and Dave Ryan.
A lot of coaches believe the first 5 minutes of the third quarter are the most important 5 minutes in a football game. And if that's true, neither team is getting off to a very good start.
3rd and
second half.
31. Zhao from the shotgun has all day and throws it long over the middle, and it is incomplete and no flag. The intended receiver was Jason McAdley. There was some contact, but it did not look like deliberate contact by Brandon Williams, the freshman cornerback for Michigan, and no flag. And it'll be 4th and 31. Ball was thrown a good 10 yards over McAdley.
You're exactly right. Contact doesn't have to be deliberate to be called, but that's foot and ankle tight contact. They were tripping each other, and the no call was the correct call.
Patrick Morgan stands at his 4-yard line and has a good snap for Alabama. They come after him, and they almost get him, but he sails a beauty. A spiral, which Diallo Johnson takes at the 38, makes the first man miss, slung down at the 41. A 43-yard punt by Morgan and a return of 3, and Shantu Ray with the sure tackle at the 41. Michigan will start from there with 13:42 remaining in the third quarter. Alabama 14, Michigan 7. This is the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. 13:42 to go in the third quarter in the FedEx Orange Bowl. 14-7 Alabama. Let's send it quickly to Dave Ryan.
Well, Dave, while you were chatting with the legendary Joe Namath, I did get a chance to talk with Alabama coach Mike DeBose. He said, this is what we need in the second half, 30 hard-nosed minutes of football. He emphasized to his team, forget the last scoring drive Michigan had. Let's just go back to basics, long drives, sustained long drives. That's what we need during the regular season, guys. They have a possession time of 37 minutes, 25 seconds to 27-25. In the first half, though, Michigan had the ball 3 more minutes. We'll see how the second half unfolds.
1st and 10 Michigan, their own 41. Brady with a play fake, throws complete to Aaron Shea, his fullback, and the ball is knocked loose, but it rolls out of bounds into the Michigan bench. It was knocked free on a jarring blow by the strong safety, Marcus Spencer, but it actually helps Michigan because it rolls forward about 4 or 5 yards before finally getting out of bounds.
Dave, they'll spot that ball where Shea went down. If you fumble forward and it goes out, they bring it back to the point of the fumble. And I guess that rule was made in order to keep people from fumbling forward intentionally.
I think the guy in the booth to our right had something to do with that in the NFL. That
You're exactly right.
That would be Kenny Stabler on the Alabama radio call. So 2nd and 8. They do mark it at the 43. Brady, another play fake. Under pressure, Salim Rashid had him. Couldn't hang on, and Brady throws incomplete deep, underthrowing David Terrell. All Brady could do to get that one off, and how Rashid didn't come up with the sack, I'm not sure.
Brady's just a strong, tough guy. He jerked away from him, stepped up in the pocket, and was able to get just enough on the ball to get it close to Terrell so that it wouldn't be called intentional grounding. So they come up with 3rd and 8 rather than 3rd and about 18. Rashid was sick that he missed the sack.
Michigan 1 of 6 on 3rd down conversions, and Brady is in the shotgun. From the 43, trailing 14-7, 13-14 to go, 3rd quarter. Brady under pressure again. Throw is caught by Terrell, and he's free. 30, 25-20, right sideline to the 10, 5 at the goal line, touchdown. 57 yards, the second Brady to Terrell touchdown connection, and Michigan is an extra point away from a tie game.
Alabama defense going away from their basic strategy coming in, lining up in man coverage. Milo Lewis was certainly no match for Terrell in the open field. Slipped one tackle down the sideline, and that pursuit we've been describing simply couldn't get there fast enough to get him on the ground this time. And we're going to have a tie game if they can make the extra point.
Hayden Epstein can make it 14-14 with 13:03 3rd quarter. High snap is handled, and the kick is good. Tom Brady is also the holder for the Wolverines and did a nice job on a slightly high snap by Rob Renis. 14-14 on 14 unanswered points on 2 Brady to Terrell touchdown passes. This one 57 yards, and so with 13:03 to go in the 3rd quarter, we're even, 14 apiece, Michigan and Alabama. And you're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl. Welcome back to the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl, brought to you by FedEx. Next time, send it FedEx and be absolutely sure. 14-14. It was 14-0 Alabama on Sean Alexander touchdown runs of 5 and 6 yards. Now David Terrell touchdown catches of 27 and 57 yards have tied it up for Michigan. 13:03 3rd quarter. Freddie Millens and Arvin Richard are back, and the kick by Epstein is caught by Richard at the 11 to the 20, looking for a block. 3 to the 25, and finally captured at the 27-yard line. Over in front of the Michigan bench on the far sideline, a 16-yard return is ended by the kicker, Hayden Epstein. And Alabama will go from there.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. He's the guy that made the late hit out of bounds earlier in the first half that led to a touchdown, the field position that was given up there, but he loves to make tackles. He had knee surgery last summer, Dave, and made the comeback and was kicking the ball by the opening of the season.
At the 28 far hash mark, Alabama going left to right as we watch the 3rd quarter. They come in the I. Now Dustin McClintock motions out of the I. Tyler Watts is the quarterback, steps up, almost sacked by James Hall. Now fires complete to the far sideline, and a first down to the 40 on the catch by Sean Alexander, a gain of 14 yards. The key being Watts' ability to make James Hall miss.
Yeah, and you could say that for every time he's handled the ball tonight in the passing game. He has terrific peripheral vision, the ability to make people miss. James Hall is an outstanding. He's an all-Big Ten linebacker, and he just whiffed. No blocker. It was another naked bootleg, and you can see why the Alabama staff calls it.
1st and 10, their 41, play action. Watts again under pressure, delivers, and it's caught by Millens. Only a gain of about 3 or 4 yards, though, to the 45-yard line. Freddie Millens hit there by Dehaney Jones. And what Terrell has done for Michigan, Freddie Millens very capable of doing for Alabama.
Anytime. He's an electric football player, but I got to keep saying those two inside linebackers, Jones and Gold for Michigan, are really keeping their team in this game.
14-14. Michigan has won 11 of its last 12 matchups against top 10 teams. They've got number 6 Alabama in a tie game right now. 11:45 of the third. Watts has the snap. Catch is made. Antonio Carter on a short toss to the 49 to midfield. And that's as far as it goes. Cato June and Ian Gold combined on the tackle for Michigan. At midfield, it will be 3rd and 1 Alabama. Antonio Carter, a true freshman from Tallahassee, who picked Alabama over both Florida State and Florida. Their second leading receiver this year with 29 catches and 3 touchdowns. He checks out. Arvin Richard in at 1 wide out. And the give is to Alexander. First down, lots more. 45, 40, breaks another tackle. 30, 20, 15, 10. Whitley chasing, can't get him. Touchdown number 3 for Alexander. 50 yards. He broke at least 3 tackles.
Very good football teams have one thing in common. They answer scores. Alabama came right back down the field after giving up the touchdown to Michigan. That time they got in an unbalanced formation. They brought Dante Ellington over to the right side with the tight end, Terry Jones Jr., and the other tackle, and just knocked the Michigan line back. Great running on top of it.
Alexander, all 3 touchdowns for the Crimson Tide, and the extra point is good by Ryan Flugner, and just like that, the Crimson Tide regain the lead at 21-14. 11 minutes exactly to go in the 3rd quarter. Alabama 21, Michigan 14. This is the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. Back in Miami, Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, Dave Ryan, new game. It was all defense in the first quarter and a half or so, and all of a sudden it's a shootout. It's 21-14 Alabama as they match the 3-play, 59-yard Michigan touchdown drive that took only 39 seconds with a 4-play, 72-yard touchdown drive, and Sean Alexander covering the final 50 for his 3rd touchdown, all 3 for the Crimson Tide. So they're back up by 7, and Lane Bearden has it teed up. Back deep, Walter Cross at the goal line for Michigan. And Bill, as you pointed out, he gets the touchdown because they come out with a new formation. Michigan is slow to react to it, but most of it was because he broke about 3 tackles.
Yeah, it should have been about a 10-yard gain.
Bearden lays into it. And the kick is down to the 7, cross to the 20, to the 25, and that's it. The tackle at that point by Chris Horn for Alabama. And slow getting up is Walter Cross, and he gets up limping. He got hit hard, and they'll have to check on him. But Michigan will have a 1st and 10 from the 25.
Back to the touchdown run, Sean Alexander is an outstanding open field runner. But Tommy Hendricks, the strong safety for Michigan, is one of the better tacklers we've seen, Dave, and he was one of the guys that missed. That's a rare miss for Tommy Hendricks.
Lone setback is Thomas. Brady, the quarterback. We saw Drew Henson for 1 second quarter series. Brady sets up a screen for Aaron Shea, and he will lose a yard. Hit at the 24-yard line by Reggie Grimes, the left tackle, who replaced the injured Kenny Smith. As Alabama defense came together after they were hit by 3 injuries, which cost them starters for the rest of the year. It was late in the year against LSU, but they had seniors emerge and show great leadership from that point on. And over the last 5 games, they allowed only 28 rushing yards per game. Michigan, not much better than that, really, tonight. 2nd down and 10, they say no gain on the screen to Shea. And there's movement, and there is contact. And it looked like the first man to move was Chris Zeman, the right guard, and Maurice Williams, the right tackle, was right there with him. So Michigan already retreating. And the referee Chuck McFerrin.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5 yards. Still second down.
Could have gotten either Zeman or Williams. So second down and 15 coming for Michigan. They trail Alabama 21-14. We're in the third quarter of their third meeting ever. They split 2 previous postseason meetings. And the shotgun, Brady retreats inside his 10, throws to Thomas, wrapped up immediately by Miguel Merritt, and they'll lose yardage again. It's the same tight pass that Shea just barely got back to the line of scrimmage on, and Anthony Thomas reaching only the 17.5-yard line. And the short stuff not working. The long stuff to David Terrell is what has been responsible for almost all their total yardage for Michigan.
That's right. And Michigan's a very good screen team, especially to Shea and Thomas. Alabama's so well prepared tonight, simply hasn't been able to work.
3, make it 2 out of 9 on third downs, and this is a 3rd and 17. Brady steps up, pressure, drop, sacked at the 10. Cornelius Griffin, the right defensive tackle, belting Tom Brady, and he landed right back on his heels at the 10-yard line. Griffin with the sack. Michigan started at their 25 and went steadily backwards.
Coverage sack. Nice job by the secondary. That time they were in a zone. Nobody was open. Brady had to pull it down, take the sack.
Epstein punting from near his own goal line, and it wobbles its way to the 38, where it's caught by Millens. Millens to the 40, 45 midfield room. Cuts left to the 45, to the 40 of Michigan. He's going to score unless Hendricks can get him. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Freddie Millens. A 62-yard punt return by Millens. And he ran it right into the end zone where Alabama fans are there going crazy.
Well, I sure wish I had words to describe that. Makes me think of Johnny Rogers for Nebraska, Dave, in those Oklahoma games in the early 70s when he won the Heisman Trophy. And if this kid stays around long enough, he just may get himself one.
Extra point tacked on by Ryan Flugner. Briefly, we were tied at 14. Alabama comes back with 2 big plays, the 50-yard scoring run by Sean Alexander and the 62-yard punt return touchdown here by Freddie Millens, who was a quarterback, the top quarterback in Mississippi in high school at Starkville. He plays wide out, but he's lined up in the backfield. We haven't seen him line up at quarterback yet, but we may. And he also does this pretty well. Returning kicks, returning punts. He scores to make it 28-14. Crimson Tide, 8:29 to go in the third.
He got a terrific assist from Jason Jones, strong safety on the punt return team, who got right in the middle of Epstein's chest and just drove him in the ground because, you know, Epstein's a good enough player. He could make a tackle on a guy like Millens with a little help. But he got knocked down, and that was the coup de grace for the touchdown space for Millens.
28-14. Crimson Tide seizing the momentum and a 14-point lead. They at one time led it 14-0. Michigan answered. Charles Drake is in to return for the injured Walter Cross. And the return of the kick by Bearden goes up the right side of the 28-yard line. It was returned for Michigan by Kevin Bryant, who was up as an up-back, and the return by Bryant goes 11 yards. And right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. Michigan will have it first and 10 at the 28. Quickly, we go down to Dave Ryan.
Well, guys, I was lucky enough to be just at the angle Freddie Millens was starting to cut as he came upfield. He has the absolutely amazing ability, Dave. We'll talk more after this play. Explosive through that hole.
All right, Brady under center has the snap, retreats, lets it fly, and incomplete at midfield. A diving attempt there by Terrell, but the ball slightly overthrown. Dave, continue.
Well, guys, the Michigan players compare Millens to Florida State superstar Peter Warrick because he can make the first tackle and miss, the second tackle and miss, and then that explosive speed to make something happen. And as you were mentioning on that call, Dave, Tommy Hendricks tried on the pursuit angle to catch up with him, but Millens is just too quick. What did Bill say earlier? Maybe the most exciting player in the country.
Showing that right now. 2nd and 10, Michigan. 8:17 in the third. From their 28, Brady, short drop, fires. Terrell open, makes the catch, and wrapped up as he dives forward to the 36-yard line. Gerald Dixon had him. It looked for a moment like he might be able to break free, but he couldn't. But he does set up 3rd and short. 3rd and about 2 coming for the Wolverines.
Gerald Dixon was in a little bit better posture than his counterpart Milo Lewis on the previous player. We might have seen another long touchdown run by Terrell. Also an exciting player.
They have 4 wides in the shotgun. Thomas is the lone setback. Brady waiting for it on 3rd and 2. Has it. Well protected. Throw is complete. It is a first down catch by Terrell near the right hash mark on the far side of the field at the 40 where Kelf Bailey had coverage.
At the beginning of the game, we talked about the offensive lines of both teams having an inordinate amount of responsibility tonight. Alabama's offensive line has certainly stepped up. Michigan has yet to get anything going in the running game. They have protected the passer fairly well.
Brady, 18 of 23, 146 yards, 99 of that on 5 Terrell catches. Brady shotgun, fires far sideline, caught by Terrell, retreats now back forward and out of bounds to the 46, where he is guided out by Darius Gilbert. So they're going away from what didn't work on their last series, the screen passes for lost yardage by Shea Thomas. Now they're going back to Terrell, who's been about the only thing they've had on offense.
The biggest equalizer in college football today, when you're just being outmanned and whipped, is rhythm passing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, set, throw. That's what Michigan's doing now.
2nd and 3. Brady under center, back, looking long, lets it go for Walker, and just overthrown inside the 15. Marquise Walker, who had single coverage that time by Kelf Bailey. And Brady decided to take a shot and just overthrew him on 2nd and short. So it brings up 3rd and 3. Wolverines from their own 47, trailing 28-14 with 7:07 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Get your offensive line untracked and doing a better job if you set up and throw on rhythm. Brady threw on rhythm there, but just a little bit overthrown, and the coverage was pretty good by Bailey.
3 wides. Brady under center this time for the snap. And drops back inside his 40. Looking, plenty of time over the middle. Shea has the catch at the 40 of Alabama. First down and about 10 more. A gain of 14. Tackle made by Salim Rashid. Brady in a real nice rhythm right now.
Real nice rhythm, and what we call guys like Aaron Shea in the NFL when we played was a money player. This guy's a money player. You need big plays, get the ball to Aaron. He'll make the first down, and he'll hang on to the football.
4 wides on 1st and 10. Terrell out, replaced by Kevin Bryant. Give up the middle. Anthony Thomas, maybe 2 yards. Another tackle by Rashid, joined by Miguel Merritt.
Michigan is making a statement here. We're going to go with our 4 wide receivers with our 1 back. And when we get in that situation, we're going to run a little trap, a little zone. That's about all we can do with the 1 back. Still haven't mounted anything in the running game, but just to keep the Alabama defense honest and hope to pop Thomas through there, they're going to run the ball occasionally.
Anthony's 10th carry, he's got 16 yards. Remember, he had a streak of 5 straight 100-yard games ending the regular season. Brady retreats, fires over the middle. There's Terrell, caught at the 20. Another Michigan first down, beating Gerald Dixon for 18 more yards.
One of the things that I saw immediately when we began to watch Tom Brady as a college quarterback, I like his eyes. He's got that cold-blooded, steely look. He's not intimidated. He doesn't get worried. He doesn't get a Brooke Trout stare. He's the leader. He's the captain of this team. His teammates elected him MVP, and he's going to carry him if necessary.
Terrell's 7th catch for 124 yards. He has both Michigan touchdowns. They're coming from 28-14 down. 5:52 third quarter. They drive, and another caught by Terrell at the 15. Keeps his footing at the 10. At the 5, a move to the corner. Touchdown, number 3 by Terrell, 20 yards.
Milo Lewis, number 21, is a little bit out of his league out there against Terrell. Mike DeBoard, the fine offensive coordinator for Michigan, soon to leave for Central Michigan, where he'll be the head coach, has figured out get my man Terrell on these corners. They can't hem him up consistently.
He has 27, 57, and 20-yard touchdown passes thrown to him by Brady. Epstein's extra point is good. Michigan cuts it again to 7. Michigan cannot deal with Sean Alexander, and Alabama has the same problem with David Terrell. So, with 5:42 to go in the third quarter, it's Alabama 28, Michigan 21. You're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl. Welcome back to the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl, brought to you by FedEx. Next time, send it FedEx and be absolutely sure. That Michigan touchdown drive saw Tom Brady hit 6 of 8 passes for 70 yards. Terrell had 5 of those catches for 57 of the 70. And Terrell in the second half alone, which is only about 9 minutes and change old, has made 6 catches for 114 yards. He is single-handedly keeping Michigan in this game with his work with Tom Brady on the throwing end, and it's 28-21. Let's quickly go down to Dave Ryan.
Well, guys, we talked with Joe Namath earlier tonight. He went to the Alabama practice earlier this week here in South Florida and spoke individually with the quarterbacks, Andrew Zhao and Tyler Watts. He told them how proud he was of the team and how much he supported them. Turns out Watts is really a big fan. In fact, he had an autograph his dad gave him in his room since he was about 5 years old. It's still there. Now, Andrew Zhao also wanted to meet Joe Namath. He said he's seen pictures in books, and of course he's seen him on TV, not live, but on ESPN Classic.
Hey, I wanted to meet Joe Namath. And through the good graces of Bill Curry, I got to.
Well, he's a classic, that's for sure. He is a classic.
Michigan set to kick it off. Hayden Epstein will again send it to either Freddie Millens or Arvin Richard, who are about the 10 and 5-yard line, respectively. This is a high, deep kick. Millens backs up 4 yards deep and will take a knee.
And there's some real happy folks with white shirts on when Millens takes that knee. If he comes out of there, I'm going to tell you, hearts leap in throats. The guy is out of this world. Or as my buddy Danny Abramowitz would say down in the New Orleans Saints area, out this world, man.
Millens has been that. Alexander and Terrell likewise. We wondered for a while if a field goal might be enough to win this thing. Nope, not close. 28-21 Alabama. 5:36 to go in the third. Stumbling as he gets the handoff is Zhao. And stumbling as he takes the handoff is Sean Alexander. Zhao almost fell down before he could get that to Alexander, who headed left and lost a yard.
They lined up in the unbalanced formation, again, the one that they used to score in the first half, except this time they did it to the left. They quick snapped Michigan, hoping to catch them out of alignment, but Zhao almost fell down. He had a problem with footwork falling on the last play of the first half. Usually that's a problem between the center and the quarterback, with the center stepping back on the quarterback's foot. It's not good.
3 wide receivers and a stack on the right side. Zhao in the shotgun bobbles the snap, now gets it off, and Millens has it to the 20 and belted at the 25. Hit of the night by James Whitley. How he hangs onto the ball, I'm not sure. How his head is still attached, I'm not sure.
There is some serious hitting going on down there now. For a while, as we noted, Michigan seemed lethargic. Alabama seemed to be in control. But Michigan, as Michigan teams will, fought back. They're showing a lot of guts and pride. And we're seeing some flat out getting after it in this excellent football game. This may be the best game of the bowl series.
Well, but it might be coming in. It might yet be that. 4:07 and counting in the third quarter. It's 3rd and 4. In the shotgun is Al. Has the snap. Heads right. Fires across. It is juggled and dropped. It was Antonio Carter who would have had the first down with a couple of yards to spare. All he had to do was watch it go into his hands. He looked away and he dropped it.
He did. He's a very young player. Antonio's a true freshman, and he was getting ready to make his long run. He's been watching his buddy Millens all night, and he forgot to do the first thing that you're supposed to do.
Patrick Morgan has punted 5 times for only 31.2. He had a -1 shank, remember, in the first half. This is very high, very short, and fair caught by Diallo Johnson at the Michigan 40. Only a 34-yarder by Patrick Morgan, the senior from Birmingham. And Michigan starts off in pretty good shape at their own 41, trailing 28-21.
Dave, on each of the last 2 punts, Julius Curry, strong safety for Michigan.
Any relation?
Has been clean. I wish I could move like Julius. I wish he were my son. He's been clean. He could have blocked each punt. Both times he's wisely pulled off to keep from roughing the punter. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him get one before this game's over. With a name like that, how can he miss?
He has greatness stamped all over.
You're losing your head, David.
Michigan with 1st and 10, 3 wides. Brady under center, has the snap, fires, incomplete. He underthrows David Terrell. They are trying to get the ball in Terrell's hands every chance they get now for obvious reasons. Alabama has not been able to deal with them at all, but that was one of Brady's few bad tosses. He's 22 of 29 now, 204 yards, and Terrell responsible for 144 of those 204 on 8 catches, 3 of which have gone for the 3 Michigan touchdowns. 2nd and 10, still from their 41. Backfield is split. Shea and Thomas. Brady, 5-step drop, throws complete to Shea at the 40, coming left to the 45, still going, and to the 50, near the first down marker, Aaron Shea, a valuable weapon as a blocker and a pass catcher. He caught 31 balls, 3rd leading receiver during the regular season for Michigan. Tony Dixon made the tackle. They will mark him at the 48. He didn't quite get to midfield.
They caught Alabama in a man coverage again. Went to their money player, Aaron Shea, who was manned up in a mismatch.
3rd and 3 for Brady, who's got Terrell and Knight both wide right. Brady back and looking over the middle, another catch and another first down. This is the first catch of the night by the tight end, Sean Thompson. He has it at the Alabama 46-yard line, first down Wolverines.
Getting them close enough to make that first down with a short throw and catch was Aaron Shea for Michigan, the fullback, who was manned up on Darius Gilbert, the strong linebacker for Alabama, and that is the kind of matchup the sophisticated offenses are able to generate.
Clock rolling, 3:17 in the 3rd. Michigan trying to tie Alabama at 28. 1st and 10. Brady firing for Terrell. Again out in space. Makes a move to the 40. Another move toward the sideline. And he's caught from behind this time by Adam Cox. Kelf Bailey was the man who feared that help would never arrive. But it finally did in the person of Cox.
I'm going to tell you, Kelf did a great job of keeping his feet moving and not committing. But Terrell took a page out of Millen's book there. Darted inside and back out. He's a big leaguer, too. Really, really talented open field people in this game.
He got to the 39 of Alabama. We're at 2nd down and 2. Brady wanting to go deep for Marcus Knight at the 5. Over the shoulder. He almost brought it in. What a pass by Brady. It dropped right over his shoulder.
It was a perfect throw. Marcus Knight is sick with himself. All he had to do was make that over-the-shoulder catch. In polished programs like these, the receivers catch balls over their heads and over their shoulders, running away from the ball every day. Marcus needed to come down with that ball, and he would like nothing better than to do it against his home state university.
Brady left it right on his fingertips. Incomplete at the goal line, and 3rd and 2 now from the tied 39. Another pass coming. Brady hit as he delivers. Caught. Shea over the middle. First down, 25-20. Breaking tackles. Plowing forward. Aaron Shea to the 15 of Alabama. 24 yards. He got about 15 of it on his own, and finally tackled by Marcus Spencer.
Now, this guy Shea, we've been talking about him all night, is a great blocker. He's an adequate runner. He's a marvelous receiver. And when you need a big play, he's the guy. He ripped away from both linebackers, ran over the free safety, and now they're down there at the 15-yard line knocking at the door.
Offset eye for Michigan. 1st and 10. Give to Thomas. Finally a hold of the 10 to the 5. Carries a red pile down to the 4. Jason Jones, Reggie Miles, Marcus Spencer hanging on to Thomas for dear life. And he's close enough to where they may have to measure and see whether this is 2nd and inches or 1st and goal, Michigan, from the 5-yard line. It's the first time that Thomas has had any room to speak of. His 11th carry for right at 10 yards, and that gives him 26 yards for the night.
Really good job by David Brandt, the center, and Chris Zeman, the right guard. They've been getting hammered all night. That time they came off that football, got their pads down, and got the A-train untracked.
It is close enough for the measurement, and it is enough for 1st and goal, Michigan.
Now, Dave, you get the A-train untracked for Michigan to go along with this passing game that suddenly began to click. And the Alabama defense has got some problems because you can't overload the run because they're too deadly with a pass, and now you're trying to play man-to-man in both areas.
Here we go. 1st and goal, 5-yard line, trying to tie it up. Another give to Thomas, and he is to the 2, maybe the 2.5.
Had he not been hit in the backfield by Rashid, he would have been in the end zone. Salim Rashid hit the A-gap between the guard and center with perfect timing. He got in the backfield and got a hold of Thomas's ankle. Otherwise, he'd have been in the back of the end zone.
He's at the 3 instead, where they mark his forward progress. 2nd and goal coming from there with 1:25 and counting in the 3rd quarter. In this quarter, Brady 14 of 19 for 171 yards. They line up with 2 tight ends. The offset eye motion from tight end Thompson, left to right. Give fake to Thomas. Brady on a roll back of the end zone. Diving attempt incomplete. Wide open was Bill Seymour, the 2nd tight end. Could not come up with it. There wasn't a red jersey within 10 yards.
Brilliant fake, brilliant play call. Doesn't mean anything unless the quarterback can throw the ball somewhere close to the receiver. And as accurate as Brady has been, that was a serious miss. Now they got 3rd and 4 and if they don't get it in here, Brady's going to be very, very unhappy with himself.
Well, they've converted on their last 4 third down attempts, and one thing I've learned from you is you're not supposed to lead tight ends, right? And he just led a tight end.
Throw the ball right at the big guy between the 8 and the 1.
Here we go, 3rd and goal from the 3. Michigan with Knight in motion right to left. Give up the middle, untouched, touchdown, Anthony Thomas.
Alabama had 6 defensive linemen in there. They all got whipped. Jeff Backus, left tackle, and Steve Hutchinson, the left guard, doing their job as they've done so well so many times. You're not going to embarrass guys like that all night long.
Anthony Thomas, with a year to go in Ann Arbor, is already 2nd on their all-time list. During the regular season, he ended with 36 career touchdowns and scores here in the FedEx Orange Bowl. The extra point is good by Epstein. Alabama has twice led by 14, and Michigan twice has pulled even. It's 28-28 with 1:01 to go in the 3rd quarter. Down to Dave Ryan.
Well, Dave, a moment ago you talked about Michigan junior star running back Anthony Thomas. He does have 1 more year of eligibility, but the talk around Ann Arbor this past week, and really since they finished their regular season against Ohio State. Will the A-Train be coming back for his senior year, or is he going pro? Now, he's got 6 days until January 7th to declare himself ready for the NFL draft. Tomorrow, he plans to meet with head coach Lloyd Carr, then head home to New Orleans to meet with his family and discuss his options with them. His mom wants him to stay and to get his degree, and the good news for Michigan fans is that Anthony had a very solid academic fall semester with his grades. He says right now he's leaning on staying. We'll see what happens.
Well, here's how much he's meant to their running game this year. He's their leading rusher. He had 1,257 yards. Their second leading rusher, Bill, was David Terrell, who carried 5 times and had a total of 89 yards. He did well when he carried it, but he only had it 5 times. They had basically no running game without Anthony Thomas this year.
No, and Michigan really prefers to have 2, maybe even 3 tailbacks to share that load. They're not going to hand it to a fullback very much. That's just their style. But nobody else stepped up to the bar, so Anthony's carried it on his own shoulders, and especially the last 5 weeks.
Epstein ready for the kick with 1:01 in the third. Very high, very short, and it will be taken at the 11-yard line by Arvin Richard. Richard heading right, 20, 25 to the 26, and that's it. Cut down there by Cato June. So Alabama with 50 seconds to work with here in the third quarter. They led 14-0 with 6:51 to go in the first half after Sean Alexander's second touchdown run. Michigan clawed back on a 27-yard Brady to Terrell touchdown. That was only the beginning. And a 57-yarder with 13:03 to go in the third made it 14-14. Alexander answered a 50-yard score, 21-14. Millen, 62-yard punt return, made it 28-14. 20 yards Brady to Terrell, 3-yard run by Thomas. Right back where we started, all tied at 28. Tyler Watts at quarterback, gives to Alexander. Heads left, gets to the corner turn, and is out of bounds near the first down marker. At the 35-yard line, and the clock stops with 44 seconds. Ian Gold chased him to the sideline.
And Dwayne Patman, the free safety, was up in perfect position. He could have just continued and tried to make the hit. Sean gave him a little move to the inside and exploded to the outside, showed his speed, and gained 8 yards in a play when he probably should have been stopped for no gain. There were no blockers over there with him, Dave.
He picked up 8 yards when it should have been no gain. 19 carries for 139 yards and 3 touchdowns by Sean Alexander. 2nd and 2. They pitch to Millen's coming right on the reverse to the 30. He's hemmed in by white jerseys and will lose a yard. Knocked out at the 34-yard line that time by Jake Freisinger. So Millen's, last time he was out there, burned him on the 62-yard punt return. They tossed to him on the reverse, and he loses a yard, and it is 3rd down coming.
And the reason Freisinger could make that play, other than the fact that he hustled, is that Patman learned a lesson. The last time he did not keep contain on Sean Alexander. This time he did, and now they force the 3rd down conversion attempt.
3rd and 3 in the eye. Watts under center waiting for the snap with 38 seconds in the quarter, and another give to Alexander, and another big stop by the Michigan defense. No gain. Rob Renis. First contact by the senior All-America nose tackle, and Larry Foote, the inside linebacker who backs up Ian Gold, was there to help out.
Renis has been kind of quiet tonight. He normally just stuffs up the middle of the line, and I think he's had a tough time. Paul Hogan's done a good job on him. Will Cuthbert, Griff Redmill, those young linemen for Alabama. But he made a big play there to force the punt.
By Patrick Morgan, which will come when we begin the 4th quarter. We've run out of time in the 3rd. We wondered if the offenses would show up. Boy, have they. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. Tonight's game brought to you by FedEx. Our score, Michigan 28, Alabama 28. You're listening to the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. Back at Pro Player Stadium in Miami, Florida, the FedEx Orange Bowl. 28-28 tie down to Dave Bryant.
Well, guys, a moment ago, David Terrell and Tom Brady just exchanging some smiles and a high five, and then they said, look, this is our quarter. Let's bring this home back to Ann Arbor. It seems like they've got a lot of enthusiasm between the two, kind of a wink exchange. Also, notice that Tom Brady looks pretty tired, exhausted, in fact, and maybe a factor playing here in kind of warm weather. It's about 75 degrees tonight.
Ought to be used to it. They've been here since the 21st of December. Patrick Morgan is on to punt again for Alabama. He's not had a good night. This is 4th and 3. And this is a fairly short kick, which is taken on the run by Diallo Johnson. He returns it to the 40-yard line. Michigan again will start with good field position after a short punt of only 34 yards. Johnson brought it back 8. In the third quarter, this is total yardage this quarter alone. Michigan 181, and all but 10 of that has been through the air, and it's mostly to Terrell from Brady. Alabama total yardage in the third quarter, 64 yards. Michigan, which couldn't convert a third down to save their lives in the first half, converted 6 of 7 in the third quarter, and Alabama only 1 of 4. Michigan from their 40 on the first possession of the fourth quarter. David Terrell, by the way, with 3 touchdown catches. That is a bowl single-game record for Michigan. It's one off of the single-game record in any game, which is held by Derek Alexander. And in their entire careers, just for a little perspective, Amani Toomer and Anthony Carter caught 4 bowl touchdown passes, but that took their careers to do so. Terrell is 1 away from doing it in 1 game.
Tom Brady is superb at what we talked about a few minutes ago, setting up and throwing the ball on rhythm, and that negates the Alabama pass rush, and it wears down this Alabama defense. Now, they're playing a lot of people, but they are young, and when you have to think a lot and you're worried about this guy suddenly beating you, and you haven't been giving up any points the last 5 games to speak of, even playing Florida, then you start to wonder what's going on. So Brady is a key factor in the success of Terrell, although he's made it happen in the open field. Michigan's staying over on the sideline a long, long time now during this TV timeout.
Well, if they're as tired as Dave Ryan indicated, they'll rest as long as they let them, and they still haven't broken their sideline huddle.
So he's talking about Brady, but no quarterback should ever get tired. They don't have to hit anybody. Why would he be tired?
How many of you told that theory?
I told all of them.
How many bought it?
I told all of them that. Unitas, he never got tired. At least he didn't know he was tired. He wouldn't admit it.
Anybody else?
Bart Starr wouldn't admit he was tired. I'll guarantee you, Brady's that kind of guy. He won't admit it. He'll just keep going.
All right, Michigan has broken the sideline huddle, and they are ready to snap it from their 40 on 1st and 10, 8 seconds into the fourth quarter. Tied at 28 with Alabama. Lone setback is Thomas. Brady, short drop back, steps up, feels pressure, throws on the run. It is caught by Benny Joffrey. The third tight end is inside the Bama 40. He picks up 23 yards, beats everybody's coverage. Nobody was close, and the strong safety Marcus Spencer finally caught him.
Now here is a deviation from the throw on rhythm thing. That time Alabama changed their coverage scheme, got in a 2 deep, 5 under man coverage, had all the wide receivers blanketed and doubled. Nice job of adjusting and waiting until the tight end got open down the middle.
He got to the tied 36, where it's another 1st and 10 Michigan. Give up the middle to Thomas, hit hard at the line, and no gain. Joffrey, a redshirt freshman from Wayzata, Minnesota, their 3rd tight end, during the season made only 3 catches. 2 of them were for touchdowns. He got a 23-yarder to get this drive jump-started. It'll be 2nd and 10 for Michigan from the 35, just outside the 35 of the Crimson Tide.
And those stout offensive linemen for Michigan, those guards in the center, got stoned that time by Cornelius Griffin and Reggie Grimes.
Brady out in the shotgun, 4 wides. Man to watch is wide right on the near side, and that would be Terrell. There was early movement, and jumping across to make some contact was Jarrett Johnson, who was pretty convincing, acting as if he had been drawn offsides by the center, David Brand.
No, he wasn't drawn anywhere. What Jarrett's been doing.
Offsides on the defense. 5-yard penalty.
There's the call by the referee.
Still 2nd down.
Jarrett Johnson, another true freshman, comes in the game in passing situations, lines up on the center's nose, He's got terrific quickness, and what he's been doing is guessing. He thinks he has a key on the snap count, and that time, I think the wily old veteran center, David Brandt, might have nodded his head just a little and got him to jump.
10th Alabama penalty, so now 2nd and 5, and there's still 4 wides, but Brady is under center for the snap. They're coming after him, and he still gets it off. Deep down the left side, inside the 5. A leaping catch is made by Marquise Walker for 29 yards to the 3-yard line.
Now, when Marquise Walker came to Michigan, he came with David Terrell, and he's been overshadowed. But they were the 2 top receiver prospects in America that year. And he's not going to just watch this game. When he gets a chance to make a big play, he comes down with a football at the 4-yard line.
He outleaps Kelf Bailey. Walker is 6'3" anyway, and he got some hang time. So they mark it at the 2.5, 1st and goal. Michigan looking for their first lead of the FedEx Orange Bowl. Knight in motion. Give us to Thomas. He is hit at the line of scrimmage. No gain for Anthony Thomas. Cornelius Griffin and Reggie Grimes combining with the quick penetration by the Crimson Tide defensive front.
That was the same play that was used earlier when he scored at the other end. They're now going left to right for the 4th quarter. And this time it was sniffed out and played really well by the Alabama goal line defense.
Right where they were at the 2.5, 2nd and goal. Offset I, fake to Thomas. Brady on a roll, throw into the back of the end zone, incomplete, and a flag is down. The intended receiver was Benny Joffrey, and a flag went flying. He was covered by Marcus Spencer, and we'll wait and see who is going to get nailed.
Could go either way. There was a lot of jostling. That flag went down. If it's offensive interference, that's a very serious call.
Holding of an eligible receiver by the defense on a forward pass beyond the line. Half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
Man, he explained it all. The holding of an eligible receiver on a forward pass that went beyond the line of scrimmage, and it's called upon the defense.
Here in Miami in the game of football.
Yes, Shakespearean in its dimension. What it means is the ball is now inside the 2-yard line.
Reggie Miles was the guilty party, the Alabama free safety. They're at the 1, 1st and goal. A give and a leap by Anthony Thomas, and no signal yet. No signal yet. And there's a fumble signaled and an Alabama recovery. Fumble by Anthony Thomas as he is flying at the goal line and appears to be in, but he came in without the ball. It was knocked free somehow in midair, right as he landed in a pile on the goal line, and Michigan, ready to take their first lead, they cough it up. Amazing.
Football is a game of ball security, field position, and collision. This ball is knocked out. Good call by the officials. He had not broken the plane. Good call. Great play. Somebody got a hat on that football. There's so many crimson jerseys, you can't tell who it is. They are all over the A train.
It was Miguel Merritt who got a hat on it, and it was recovered by Darius Gilbert for a touchback. Alabama, 1st and 10 from their 20. Give us to Alexander. Starts right, reverses field, knocked down at the line of scrimmage by James Paul. 12-11 to go, and we're still tied at 28. And Michigan is a team that simply doesn't fumble. They lost only 4 fumbles during the entire regular season. They had only 12 turnovers total during the regular season.
So many times when a back fumbles, it's because of carelessness. That was not the case there. Anthony Thomas had that ball secured, but Miguel hit him so hard with his helmet right on the football, that was a collision fumble.
Wide wideouts, 2 on the right side. Millens in motion to the left. Zhao standing, hit as he delivers incomplete. Intended for Tim Bowens at the 30, and it was James Hall who drilled Andrew Zhao right as he was getting it going. It's 3rd and 10.
You know, that's the first time James Hall has been back there. He's playing against these young tackles who have done a terrific job, but he got back there and got a hit on the QB and forced a bad throw.
So from their 20, they'll snap it on 3rd and 10 with 11:32 in the 4th. Alabama 2 of 9 on 3rd down. They come with 5 wides, and Zhao in the shotgun. McAdley motion left to right. Throwback is to Carter. Crosses in the 30 into the middle to the 35. A first down on a well-designed and timed pass by Antonio Carter. Crossing back into the middle for a first down. Patman and Gold on the tackle, but not until he reached the 36.
At the outside in, wide receiver, what some people call a jailbreak screen, because the linemen come inside out on a quick screen basis, block for a receiver, in this case, Anthony Carter. And this time, Carter looked the ball in, Antonio Carter, I should say. He looked the ball into his hands and then exploded up the field.
1st and 10 at their 36. Zhao in the gun again. Sets up a screen, which is incomplete. He's lucky it wasn't intercepted. It was intended for Millens, who was surrounded by about 4 Michigan defenders.
Dave, that was the same play on the other side from a different formation in an attempt to get the ball in Millen's hands with blockers out front. And in college football, if the ball is thrown behind the line of scrimmage, the linemen are allowed to go down the field and block before the ball is thrown or caught.
McAdley checking out. He is replaced by Sam Collins. Millens comes by himself to the near side, wide left. Now comes in motion to the right and into the backfield where he takes a pitch and wants to throw. Gets away from Whitley, who came on a corner blitz. Flag is down. He gets the pass off anyway, and it's incomplete into the Michigan bench. It's going to be holding Alabama. They motion Millens. Zhao tosses to him on a reverse type play, but Millens wanted to throw a pass, and the pressure by Whitley made that impossible.
Yeah, he wanted to throw it back to Zhao. Zhao was covered, and Sam Collins, the redshirt freshman wide receiver blocking for him, is called for holding.
Whitley's come a couple of times on the corner blitz with success each time. And the success here in the form of the holding penalty. And Lloyd Carr arguing about where they're going to mark this next play. He's arguing spot foul. It's holding, it's a spot foul, and they're still discussing where the new line of scrimmage will be. Pac-10 crew headed by Chuck McFerrin. Well, right now they've got it at the 26. Line to gain for the first down is the 46. Exactly 11 minutes to go. So it'll be 2nd and 20 for Alabama.
Interesting defensive strategy by Michigan. They're running 3 or 4 defensive players out just outside the numbers that mark the field. They can do that and wait and see what the unit is that Alabama is going to employ before they run the rest of the way.
12th penalty for the Tide, 77 yards. Here comes another one. Flags everywhere.
Side of the field, so that the free safety can get over and cover the wide receiver. Whitley thought he was going to get a big sack, and Zhao, with just sheer reaction time, got the ball off to Terry Jones Jr., who made an excellent run up to give him a 3rd and 10.
It's 3rd and 10 for Zhao. Shotgun. Hall comes up. He escapes. Another flag's coming. I think it's another Alabama hold. The pass is caught by Shamari Buchanan at the 48. A gain at 11 if this play stands. It won't. Again, Alabama caught holding.
James Hall hadn't made much of an impact tonight until this series, but he's really making his presence known. He's all over the field rushing the passer. Really has picked his play up a notch.
Holding on the offense on a pass play, 10 yards from the previous spot. Still second down.
Well, he's off. It's still third down. And right now, being tended to is Michigan's right cornerback, Todd Howard. He's rolling around injured. Michigan training staff is out. Now, guess who the backup cornerback on both sides is on the Michigan 2-deep roster? It's a guy named Terrell.
Let me guess. Could it be number 1? David Terrell? Could he do his Charles Woodson act here and just play the entire remainder of the game? It's a long way to go.
Well, we'll find out right now. Let's send it down to Dave Ryan.
Well, guys, bad news also on the other side for Alabama. Gerald Dixon is suffering from some cramps right now to the backs of both of his legs, the hamstrings. They're icing it and trying to stretch it. He may be lost for the game. And Bill and Dave, we were talking earlier about the heat. It is pretty warm, about 75 degrees down here, and muggy as we get into the latter parts of this fourth quarter. A lot of guys on both sidelines are cramping up, and that could be the case as well with Michigan player.
Well, Todd Howard makes his way to his feet and will walk off. Not with the limp. In fact, he's not going to jog off.
How are you holding up, Dave Ryan?
I'm just fine. How about Dave Ryan? I bet it's a little muggy for him
Ryan,
down below.
you're from Syracuse. I mean, how are your hamstrings down there?
So far, so good, Bill. Thanks for asking. But talking about Syracuse very quickly, we saw Marquise Walker make that great catch in the corner and the jump. I had a chance to watch him play high school football at Henniker High and high school basketball. Guys, he was a better basketball player than he was a football player. He could dunk backwards. One of those guys who could throw it off the backboard, catch it, and slam it backwards. He was an amazing basketball player in high school, heavily recruited as well.
Well, thank you for that basketball recruiting report.
He's not bad on the football field. Here's 3rd and 20. Zal throws complete to Millens over the middle. Not much yardage to the 34. Not much surprise. Another flag is down. Another Alabama holding penalty. One after another after another.
The front four for Michigan is cranking it up now. They know they're going to throw the ball in this situation. Something's happened to their energy level. That's very clear in the second half.
On a pass play, 10 yards from the previous spot. Still third down.
All right, we got the announcement there. It's on a pass play.
That is the 3rd Alabama holding penalty on this drive alone.
Yeah, and it's a flat-out takedown on James Hall, and it's Baxley. He's young. He hadn't played much, and Hall's kind of got him intimidated, so he just grabbed his shirt and dragged him down, sat on him.
So this snap comes from the 15. They need to get just across the 45. Zal back looking, chased to the 15, to the 20, 25-yard line, and dropped at that point. And a victory for the Michigan defense, and I guess a victory for the Alabama offensive line because they weren't called for holding that.
Well, they actually protected the quarterback reasonably well. But it's hard. I think the second hardest thing in all of sports is to protect a passer. I think the first hardest thing is hitting a baseball. And the reason I think that is probably because of my skill at hitting a baseball.
Tried them both.
But yeah, I did try them both. It's so hard. You're out there by yourself when you play tackle.
Alabama set to punt. Patrick Morgan stands at his 10. Deep snapper Bradley Ledbetter snaps it from the 25. It's a perfect snap, and Morgan, who's not had a good night, has one of his better efforts here. Diallo Johnson returns from the 38 to the 40, 45, and that's where it will end. But again, Michigan has outstanding field position, as they have most of the second half. 36 yards on the punt, 8 yards on the return by Diallo Johnson. With 9:03 to go in the fourth quarter, Michigan 28, Alabama 28. And you're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl. Welcome back to the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl, brought to you by FedEx. Next time, send it FedEx and be absolutely sure. At Pro Player Stadium in Miami, Dave Barnett, Phil Curry, and Dave Ryan in a 28-28 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl. Michigan will have it at their own 46. First down and 10, and Brady, fighting off his exhaustion, has 3 wide receivers in the shotgun. Low snap, handles it, gets it to Terrell. Hit for a loss at the 42 and hanging on for dear life. Making that tackle is Milo Lewis. Quickly down to Dave Bryant.
Mike also in the commercial break a few minutes ago trying to stay away from cramps. He's very tired. He was talking one-on-one with the trainer about trying to stay away from that. Same goes for Todd Howard, the injured defensive back a few moments ago for the Wolverines. He was riding the extra bike trying to keep the muscles loose. He's jogging around now trying to keep limber.
2nd and 12. Terrell lost 2. Toss sweep left side. Anthony Thomas waits for a block. Gets around Rashid to the 45 near midfield. In fact, they'll mark him down exactly at the 50-yard line where he was hit by Kelf Bailey. 8 minutes, 18 seconds, and counting in the 4th quarter. Michigan will have a 3rd and 6. Brady to Terrell has been the story, Bill, in the 2nd half. You have to think Terrell here on 3rd.
Yeah, I would think so. Although Anthony Thomas, little screens and ways to get the ball in his hand, he seems to be running with more and more authority and speed.
Terrell is wide left. Shea goes in motion. Brady again from the gun, has the snap. 3rd down, steps up, lets it fly for Walker, who makes the catch inside the 40 of Alabama. 13 yards to the 37. He beats Milo Lewis. 1st down, but a flag is down. It's down where we've been getting a lot of holding calls. This is going to be face masking against Michigan. Pretty unusual offensive line call for face masking.
Sometimes when you're protecting, you're trying to keep your hands in the plane of the body of the rusher, and your hand literally slides up and hits the face mask. Now, the rule says this: if you remove your hand immediately, it won't be called. You leave your hand on that face mask, and man, this is a huge penalty. If you leave that hand for any significant amount of time, you got a 15-yard penalty.
And in effect, you have a lot more than that because of where Walker made that catch. He made the catch at the 38 of Alabama. This is going to be a 3rd down snap. Michigan's own 27. They need 29 yards. And instead of thinking about moving into scoring range, now they're just trying to think about how to get farther away from their own end zone. Brady wants to go deep up the left side. Walker with a step on coverage off his fingertips. Incomplete. He had Kelf Bailey beaten. Couldn't hang on.
2 great deep throws on fade routes by Brady, both dropped by veteran receivers. Knight dropped one earlier, which would have been a touchdown, and now Walker drops that one, which would have almost certainly been a touchdown as well.
This would have been a lot tougher than Knight's, but both catchable, and so Epstein on 4th and 29 will have to punt. Alabama came after him. He got it off. It's high, nose up, and drops with a Michigan bounce inside the 30 down to the 26, and it'll be killed there. With the bounce, it's a 47-yard Hayden Epstein punt. With 7:12 to go in the 4th quarter, it's 28-28, Michigan and Alabama. This is the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. Alabama ball at their 26, 7:12 to go in the 4th quarter. Starting to think overtime may loom as a possibility. We've already seen one overtime between the SEC and the Big Ten today, with Georgia overcoming a 25-0 Purdue lead and winning in overtime of the Outback Bowl, 28-25. We're 28-28 here. Alabama's last 3 possessions, they have totaled 20 yards. They've had a ton of penalties, mostly on holding. And at this point, they have 15 penalties for 102 yards. That is a school bowl record they didn't want to set. They previously had never had more than 10 penalties in an Alabama postseason game. Watts in the shotgun draw, hands off to Alexander, and about 6-7 yards up the middle for Sean to the 33-yard line. Tyler Watts, Dave Ryan reports, playing with a bruised right hand, but he continues to alternate series at quarterback with Andrew Zhao.
Nice call by Neil Callaway, offensive coordinator for Alabama, especially when young tackles are having trouble with outside pass rushing, which is exactly what's happening with Williams and Hall. You call that draw play, and you slow that rush down. Now, Michigan had 4 players out, outside the numbers, waited for Alabama to substitute, and then sent the other 4 players on they wanted in their nickel package. Then Alabama substituted again. This is getting to be like a duel of managers in baseball with their pitchers, Dave.
Alabama calls timeout with 6:26 to go. And right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. .26 to go in the fourth quarter. Alabama 28, Michigan 28. You're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl. Alabama ready after the timeout. 2nd and 3. Toss sweep left side. Sean Bohannon's first carry as he gives Alexander a breather. He's knocked out of bounds close to a first down at the 36-yard line by Cato June and James Whitley. The junior from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Sean Bohannon, their second leading rusher, does have enough for a first down. Crimson Tide at the 37. 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go. 28-28.
Real good play calling by the Alabama brain trust there. Counter toss sweep.
Watts, 1st and 10. Has it, rolls right, throw on the run. Is caught by Shamari Buchanan near another first down at the 46.5. In the second half, Michigan has outgained the Tide by a margin of about 2-1. They have 11-4 edge in first downs. They've converted 6 of 8, Alabama 2 of 6. So the Tide trying to do what they haven't really done all half, and that is mount a consistent drive. But they have the makings of one.
Yep, they're cleaning out the playbook. They got in an unbalance there, sprinted toward it, and threw the outcut. Nice play.
They come on the eye on 2nd and 1. Watts under center. Movement right side by Lennox Bailey, the right tackle, starting at that spot with Chris Samuels out injured. And so what was going to be 2nd and about 2 feet will now be 2nd and 5 yards and 2 feet. Lannis Baxley, redshirt freshman, Waynesboro, Georgia, picks up the 16th Alabama penalty, 108 yards. They've never had more than 10 penalties in any bowl game. Orange Bowl record is 17 by Tennessee in 1939. One more there. Shotgun draw. Sean Alexander back in to the 45, to the 50, still going, breaking tackles to the 49 of Michigan. First down, Sean Alexander.
Beautiful call, well-executed draw play, taking advantage of James Hall, who's exploding up the field to rush the passer. They're going to slow him down. That's what they're going to do. That's one of the advantages of running a draw series like this. James Hall will not be coming off the ball with the same kind of explosion because he's got to honor that draw play a little bit to give his linebacker a chance to make the tackle.
Under 5 minutes. 1st and 10 Alabama. This snap in Michigan territory. They're 49. Motion from tight end Sean Draper. Shotgun handoff again to Alexander. A yard, maybe 2 to the 47. James Hall curtailing his pursuit that time enough to limit Alexander to a gain of about 1.5 yards.
Yeah, he really did. That was a good call on your part, Dave, because he didn't explode, and by holding his ground a little bit, this was a normal running play. He's able to slide down the line of scrimmage laterally and make the tackle for a short gain.
In his final game in the crimson uniform, Sean Alexander has 158 yards on 24 carries and 3 touchdowns. The all-time Alabama rushing leader and the SEC Player of the Year, going out in style. 2nd and 8. Watts shotgun, steps up against pressure. He is tripped up. What a tackle by Ian Gold, because if he doesn't make that tackle, the next possible defender with a shot at Watts is about 30 yards downfield.
Yes, with his back to Watts. They were in man coverage, Dave. And Ian Gold may be the only athlete in that linebacker corps that could have come down with Watts. He would have run, and that's the tough thing about man-to-man coverage. Your defensive backs and linebackers are all running away from the quarterback, so when he runs, you don't even see him. That was a big play.
They snap this right on the crown of King Orange near midfield. 48 of Michigan. 3rd down to 9. Watts retreats, chased by Hall. A flag. We're going to have another holding call, but Watts keeps. And if the play stands, and I don't think it will, 1st down to the 37. Nope, another holding penalty against Alabama. That is their record-tying 17th Orange Bowl penalty.
Yeah,
and I'm guessing about half of them, close to 8 or 9, have got to be holding calls.
James Hall
on a run beyond the line, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Still 3rd down.
James Hall has been a dominating pass rusher at least the last 3 years, Dave, because you and I have been watching him. He exploded off that football. He beat Dante Ellington so fast, he got in Sean Alexander's line of vision. Watts took off, and Alexander had to get a piece of him, had to get a hold of him, and that's what cost him.
Hall's been doing it a long time. 2nd all-time sack man in Michigan history. Here comes a 3rd and 28, under 3 minutes we go. From the 33, Whitley got him on a safety blitz. Tyler Watts sacked and loses his helmet on the hit by James Whitley. He's been coming all night on corner blitzes, and he nails Watts for a loss all the way back to the 21.
Now, when you bring those corners, the quarterback has to compensate for that with the wide receiver. The wide receiver adjusts his route, and the quarterback's got to see it, make the throw very quickly. That time, Watts simply didn't see the corner coming.
They'd reached the 49 of Michigan. They snapped from their own 21 with 2:19 to go in regulation. Morgan not pressured on the punt. It's another short one. It takes an Alabama hop inside the 40, still going inside the 35. It's going to be good yardage. Down finally at the 31. It's 48 yards thanks to the hop. And with 2:05 remaining in the 4th quarter, it's still Michigan 28, Alabama 28. This is the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio. Back to the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl, brought to you by FedEx. Next time, send it FedEx and be absolutely sure. With Bill Curry and Dave Ryan, Dave Barnett on ESPN Radio, Pro Player Stadium in Miami. 2:05 to go in regulation. Michigan and Alabama are still tied at 28. On their last 9 possessions, the Crimson Tide netting only 15 total yards. Brady in the second half alone is 18 to 25, 228 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he has a 1st and 10 at his own 31. He's in the shotgun, has all day, looks right now left, and the throw is complete to the 38. The catch made by Marquise Walker with coverage by Kelf Bailey. Clock continues to roll. He didn't get out of bounds. It's at the minute 52. They have all 3 timeouts. Alabama has 2 remaining timeouts. And they go without a huddle from their 38.
Alabama is unable to get pressure with their front 4 rushing.
2nd down and 3. Again from the gun, Brady throws, and this one is dropped by Marcus Knight, the senior from Sylacauga, Alabama, who has had a couple of key drops.
I'm telling you, he would still be running with that thing. That was a delay, a dig coming across the middle of the field, and this time Rashid was clean on the blitz. They couldn't get pressure with their front 4, so they brought the blitz, had a little pressure. Brady made a nice throw, and Marcus is not going to remember this night favorably unless he does something to redeem himself.
Knight and Terrell this year have become the all-time receiving tandem in Michigan history, passing Mercury Hayes and Amani Toomer's single-season record. 3rd and 2. Brady throws. Walker hangs on. He's in bounds. He's got a 1st down and is out of bounds at the 45. Beating the coverage by Bailey. Stops the clock with a minute 29, but he moves the chains.
A very big play with perfect execution, because had they not connected there, they would have had to punt the football.
Again without a huddle from their 45. 4 wides. They'll keep Tom Brady in the shotgun probably every down on this drive. Has the snap. Looks, has plenty of time. Throws over Walker and incomplete. Walker was open again. Still covered by Bailey. Clock stopped at 1:23. There's never been overtime in the FedEx Orange Bowl in the brief history of that rule. We're looking right at it right now, and the reason we're still thinking about it is what appeared to be the go-ahead touchdown dive by Anthony Thomas, and Miguel Merritt somehow knocked the ball free. It was recovered at the goal line by Darius Gilbert for a touchback, and that's why we're still tied at 28. 2nd and 10. Flag is going to come against Michigan, I think. Bailey gets it off, and the pass is complete to Knight near midfield at the 49-yard line. Bailey gets it off, and the pass is complete to Knight near midfield at the 49-yard line, where Salim Rashid and Reggie Miles make the tackle, but there seemed to be movement from the right tackle before the snap by Michigan. Here's the call.
Defense in the neutral zone, offside at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Kendall Moorhead called the left defensive end.
Yes, sometime when you're having trouble getting to the passer, you get a little frustrated. You can get careless, especially in the fatigue and the heat of the battle. And this is the heat of the battle. The last 2 minutes of a football game is the ultimate gut check in our sport. And you don't do the little things like look at the football.
2nd and 5 right at midfield. 1:12 and counting. Brady has the snap, throws left side. It is caught. Leaping catch in midair. 35-yard line, and Marcus Knight hangs on to that one. 15 yards.
Well, redemption right there. He jumped on that one like a duck on a June bug. That was a tough catch. That's the toughest one he's had. And he came down with it.
He got hit by Marcus Spencer right as the ball arrived, and he hangs on. And the chains move, and they'll roll the clock at exactly 1 minute to go. 1st and 10, Michigan, the tie 35. Tied at 28. Under a minute we go. Under center, the snap. Brady fakes to Thomas, rolls right, throw wide open, tight end Sean Thompson at the 20. To the 18, he's undercut with another Michigan 1st down. Marcus Spencer prevents a touchdown. It's a gain of 17 by Sean Thompson.
And I was just about to say that Epstein has a 56-yard field goal to his credit this year, but there's not going to be one that long required if and when they do attempt it. Alabama takes a timeout here.
That's their 2nd timeout. Boy, the outgoing senior quarterback, Tom Brady, is living up to the high words of praise by his outgoing offensive coordinator, Mike DeBoer, who's going to be the head coach of Central Michigan. Says Tom Brady, MVP of the team, as voted by his teammates, captain, an exceptional person and quarterback. He's led Michigan from behind this year against Notre Dame, Penn State, Indiana, Ohio State. And DeBoer says that is the truest mark of a quarterback, and Michigan has twice come from 14 behind in this game. In the second half alone, Brady 22 of 31 for 274 yards, and for the game, 34 of 46 for 351 yards. This against the number 9 defense in the country.
A defense that had given up an average of 221 yards a game, Dave, for the last 5 games of the season. Not intimidated by Michigan's reputation. Alabama's not intimidated by anybody. Brady comes out there with that cold steel in his eyes that all great quarterbacks have, and he just keeps executing. Doesn't matter how tired he is, he just keeps playing and making the plays that his team needs to be made.
In 4 of the 9 Michigan wins this year, they scored the go-ahead points with less than 3 minutes to go. We just listed them: Notre Dame, Penn State, Indiana, Ohio State. Don't forget, coming up on the FedEx Orange Bowl post-game show, Dave Ryan will talk to the star of the game, and Steve Cangelosi will have the New Year's Day Bowl wrap-up. Coming up after the game here on the home of the Bowl Championship Series, ESPN Radio. 49 seconds to go, 4th quarter. Michigan will snap it on a 1st and 10 on the near hash mark going left to right in Pro Player Stadium, just inside the Alabama 19-yard line. They're already well inside Hayden Epstein field goal range. And they're out in the offset eye. 1st and 10, 49 seconds, 28-28. Brady under center to give the Anthony Thomas to the 17, maybe the 16, straight ahead. Power running by Anthony Thomas. Maybe let's give him to Kenny King, made the first hit for Alabama. Clock rolling, 35 seconds. Michigan milling around in no hurry to either get a snap off or call timeout, and it's at 27 seconds and counting. They have all 3 of their timeouts. Brady now leaving the field. He's also the holder. 20 seconds. On the play clock, there's 10 seconds. Game clock is now at 16 seconds. He comes right back after a quick word from Lloyd Carr. Play clock's at 4. Play clock's at 2. Game clock at 10. Brady under center has the snap and takes a knee. He only wanted to get in the middle of the field, and that's what he does. And they call time with 2 seconds to go. Tom Brady headed left for a couple of strides, fell down in the dead center of the hash marks at the 19-yard line. He did his job perfectly, and now with 2 seconds to go, Hayden Epstein will come on, and he will try a 36-yard game-winning field goal. Could you ask for any more to wrap up New Year's Day?
You couldn't ask for any more from your quarterback. Tom Brady has put on, I don't know if it's the performance of his life, but in this second half, I got to say it's one of the best I've ever seen by a gutty quarterback coming back from fatigue and from 14 down not once but twice, as you've indicated, Dave, from a costly fumble at the goal line by his reliable tailback to put his team in a position to win here if the kicker can come through. And, of course, he's going to have to execute here, too. Rob Renas has got to hike this ball perfectly. Brady's got to get it down, and Epstein's got to get it through.
With 8:29 to go in the third quarter after the 62-yard punt return by Freddie Millens, Alabama led 28-14. Brady went to work, hit Terrell, capping an nine-play 72-yard drive, 20 yards, touchdown. Thomas, the 3-yard touchdown, tied it at 28. Now they're ready to try and win it on the final play of the FedEx Orange Bowl. Brady will set it down at the 26. It'll be a 36-yarder, and Alabama will try and ice him a bit as they call timeout. You got to, and so they did. They had it in their back pocket, and they'll use it. And both sides will retreat to their respective benches. Alabama right in front of us on the near sideline. Michigan on the far sideline, and they'll leave Epstein alone in the middle of the field to his own thoughts.
There are 2 conflicting approaches on how to handle a kicker. And you pretty much leave it up to what the kicker wants. And I just watch Epstein wave Renas off. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. You either bring him over or leave him out there. Epstein wants to be out there.
Dave Ryan.
Amazing story of Hayden Epstein, who's trying to kick the game-winning field goal here in Miami tonight. He tore his ACL back in California training for the upcoming season, June 2nd. 6 days later, he started the rehab process. And believe it or not, that fall in September against Notre Dame came back from a complete tear of the ACL. Less than 2 months later, a complete recovery. Now, a big moment for him.
They are out and ready, and it will be Epstein from 36 to win it. 2 seconds to go, tied at 28. Renas will snap it to Brady. Good snap, good hold. Kick is up and blocked. Blocked, picked up by Brady. Brady looking for somebody to throw it to, and he lobs it with a flag down, and time runs out in regulation. Flags are down, so we'll have to sort that out, but Alabama comes up with the block. Looked like Philip Weeks got it for Alabama.
Ineligible downfield, decline, overtime.
The ineligible man was the snapper, Renas. The second block Epstein suffers all year means we are headed to overtime. Tied 28. 28. Alabama and Michigan. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl.
You just like it to go on all night if you love football. These kids are playing their guts out. There's no other way to say it. I mean all of them.
And we have now moved into January 2nd, 2000 here on the East Coast. It's 12:24 a.m. Nobody is even close to tired of this. This has been some show these two put on.
Yeah, and by the way, the snap was perfect. The hole was good. Epstein kicked the ball low. Weeks made a nice jump to get up. It might have gone through had he not gotten up and gotten a piece of it, but it was definitely a low kick.
Chuck McFerrin explain the situation, tosses the coin. Alabama wins the toss. Alabama wins the toss. And when you win the toss in overtime, you want to play defense and see what your offense has to do. Georgia, earlier today, came from 25 down to beat Purdue in overtime, 28-25. They stopped Purdue on their first series of overtime. All they had to do was get a kick, and they won it on the field goal. So the SEC versus the Big Ten has been something today. Michigan State pulled out a late win over Florida in the Citrus.
To play defense. Michigan is elected to go at that end of the end zone, into the field.
And McFerrin is pointing to our left, so Michigan will go right to left in this first overtime. They'll start at the 25. And if we get as far as triple overtime, you must go for two after every touchdown.
That's right, and each team gets one timeout during each overtime period. They cannot be accumulated. In other words, you can't save one when you get to the second overtime and have two timeouts. You either use it or lose it. And those are the basics.
Boy, for all that running up down the field, nobody scored in the fourth quarter. Anthony Thomas came an inch away from scoring before he was separated from the ball by Miguel Merritt. Without question, that's the play of the game, but the players of the game, that's up for some debate. Sean Alexander has 3 touchdowns for Alabama and has carried it 24 times for 158 yards. David Terrell for Michigan has a Michigan Bowl single-game record, 3 touchdown catches. 10 total catches, 148 yards, make it 149 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Tom Brady is 34-46 for 351 yards and all 3 of those touchdowns. So we were 28-28 after Thomas scored on a 3-yard run with 1:01 to go in the third quarter, and that's where we still are. Don't forget, coming up on the FedEx Orange Bowl postgame show, Dave Ryan talks to the star of the game, probably one of those 3, and Steve Cangelosi will have the New Year's Day Bowl wrap-up coming up after the game here on the home of the Bowl Championship Series, ESPN Radio. We're at Pro Player Stadium in Miami, headed to overtime. Michigan 28, Alabama 28. Michigan twice coming from 14 points down. 14-0 Alabama, 28-14 Alabama. They couldn't hold either lead. Dave Barnett with Phil Curry and Dave Ryan. Alabama's defense is ready. They're standing out there, and the Michigan offense is still huddled around Lloyd Carr near their sideline across the way. Now on they come. And we keep an eye on David Terrell, who's wide right. Marcus Knight is wide left. Thomas with the fake from Brady. Brady retreats, throws, caught, 10-yard line, 5-yard line. Sean Thompson has a touchdown. That didn't take long. One play of overtime, and it's 34-28 Michigan. Sean Thompson with a touchdown.
And what does that remind you of, Dave? The 1997 National Championship team with Brian Greasy to Jeremy Tooman. That seemed to be their favorite passing play. Not a surprising call to us, but certainly it surprised Alabama's defense, and it was executed to perfection.
Now, this is big. The extra point by Epstein is good. He got this one up plenty high, unlike the potential game-winning field goal at the gun. One play, 25 yards. Sean Thompson, who had one touchdown and only 11 catches during the regular season.
Had he not gotten that up quickly, Cornelius Griffin had plenty of penetration, came through almost cleanly. The defensive tackle, not a real good job of protection by the Michigan front wall. But there's so much emotion, there's so many bodies flying around here. This is really something. Now the pressure squarely on the Alabama offense's shoulders.
Yep, they won the toss, elected to go, as everybody does on defense first, to know what they need. Here's what they need: a tying touchdown. 35-28 Michigan in overtime. Millens in motion. Andrew Zhao, shotgun draw. Sean Alexander heads right. 25-21, and that's where it ends. A gain of 1 for Alexander, ended by the tackle by Cato June. Second down and 6 coming in overtime, the first overtime in the history of the Orange Bowl. Michigan right now on a run of 21 unanswered points. Second and 6 will come from the far hash mark at the 21. They line up in the I. Antonio Carter wide left, motion right to left from Shamari Buchanan. And Andrew Zhao has to call timeout.
Two unbelievable things happened there in an overtime period. Number one, the Alabama coaches took Freddie Millens out of the game, and I don't understand that. Number two, Shamari Buchanan didn't know where to line up, did not know where to line up. Lined up on the wrong side of the formation. The QB had to call him back across, and by the time he moved across the line of, from one side of the line of scrimmage to the other, or rather his O-line, time had run out on the clock. So now their timeout is gone.
Well, better to get the timeout called than go ahead and try and salvage something.
Yeah.
And have disaster.
Yeah, I think so. But wouldn't you leave Freddie Millens on the field?
I have to think, and he's coming back in now. I was going to say I have to think he might be suffering from a brief cramp, or it would have to be something physical, you would think, to keep Millens on the sideline even for one snap of overtime, but that's all it was. He's back out there now, and he's going to be wide left. Inside of him is Antonio Carter. McClintock and Alexander are in the I, and Zhao will take the snap up under center on 2nd and 6. Michigan having already scored on the first play of overtime, the 25-yard Brady to Sean Thompson touchdown, the 4th touchdown pass tonight by Brady.
The two speedsters out here, Milans and Carter. Michigan's playing 3-on-2, but you can bet that Alabama would love to get the ball out here. I'm not saying they will. I think by alignment, Michigan might try to take it away by having 3 players to defend the 2.
Well, the guy that's staring right across at Millens with his coverage assignment is Todd Howard.
The other thing to look for is Alexander going the other way.
All right, Zhao ready for the snap on 2nd and 6. Carter motions toward the line, and the give is to Alexander, who's hit at the line. Nope, fake. Zhao throws to the end zone, caught. What a fake. Carter has the touchdown. What a tremendous fake by Zhao. Everybody, including yours truly, went for it. The whole defense collapsed on Sean Alexander, and after going in motion, undetected at the 2-yard line, was Antonio Carter, who walked in for the touchdown.
The great offensive coordinator, Homer Smith, called it prestidigitation, sleight of hand. The quarterback makes the ball disappear.
Now they need the tying point after by Ryan Flugner to head to overtime number 2. Good snap and hold. The kick is up, and it is no good. Wide right, Michigan wins it. The Michigan Wolverines have beaten beaten Alabama in overtime, 35-34. And there are 100 or so players in the maize and blue, covering about half of the Orange Bowl field in various celebrations. A shank by Ryan Flugner, who did miss 4 PATs during the regular season. That one was wide right all the way, and Michigan has won it in 1 overtime by 1 point.
There are no losers on the field tonight. These kids all played their hearts out, and that's the story of this football game, a wonderful football game. And so many times it hinges on a little thing like a extra point kick, but there are no losers in this football game. Both teams played their hearts out.
Ryan Flugner pushed it right. Michigan wins it 35-34. Down below with David Terrell is Dave Ryan.
Coach doesn't do for 2 weeks. Everybody came out and played well.
This is Dave Terrell, guys.
What about Tom Brady? The performance of Tom Brady. Last game in Michigan here, David. Talk about his performance tonight.
We ready. NFL for Tom Brady. He get ready for the NFL. He came out and played the way he's supposed to. He came out and played well.
Dave, you set a bowl record out of here. How'd you do it today?
Hey, I mean, I knew that if I could come out, if the coach would put me in position to get the ball, I could go out here and I could make something happen. And all I wanted to do was get the chance. I got the chance, and I did my job.
How about Tom Brady and his amazing finish tonight? What a way to go out for him.
Amazing. Tom Brady, amazing. He came out. He won this game, along with that defense. Tom Brady showed poise. He showed the heart of a character. He showed the heart of a leader, the heart of a lion. And he came out here, stuck it in. They say he wasn't mobile enough, but he showed them how mobile he was today.
What does this mean for the Big Ten, Dave?
For the Big Ten, I mean, everybody said we weren't good enough. They said we weren't good enough, but we just showed everybody. We showed the world we was good enough.
Guys, back upstairs, a very happy Dave Terrell,
who has just been named MVP of the FedEx Orange Bowl. He had 10 catches, 149 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think if the ballots don't have to all be in with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, Brady wins that award.
You know what?
Take nothing away from Terrell.
You know what I put on mine? I've seen a lot of great quarterback play. I've never seen anything better than Brady tonight. I got to say that Terrell was magnificent. Millens was magnificent. Sean Alexander was magnificent. And every young man who stepped on that field laid it on the line. Both teams experienced adversity, and both of them fought back again and again. This is what football is all about in the finest sense of the word.
Tom Brady was 35 of 47, 376 yards and 4 touchdowns, and now he's with Dave Ryan.
We came out.
He's very happy, guys.
You know, we didn't want to win. We didn't want to lose this game, and whatever it took to win, that's what we were going to do. So I want to go over and say hi to everyone up there, man. Those are the people we come out to watch us, and those are the guys I got to go thank.
Tom, can you reflect on your career at all for us? Just your great career in Michigan.
Dave's a great player. It's a great game for all of us. Hell of a way to end it, I'll tell you that.
Congratulations. Guys, back upstairs. He's very happy. You can pass it.
All right. That really sums up his career. During the season, there was a lot of discussion, well, should Drew Henson be the quarterback? And I think we've discovered tonight, without taking anything away at all from Drew Henson, who now has 2 years ahead of him if he wants to stay at Michigan, and there's no indication that he won't. But I think we saw why Lloyd Carr and Mike DeBoer made the decision at mid-season that they needed to go exclusively with Tom Brady at quarterback, and they closed the season with a 5-game winning streak, 10-2.
Well, you know me, Dave, I've always been a player's guy. I mean, I was a player for a long, long time, and the entire time I coached, I tried to understand how the players thought. When these young men elected Brady captain before the season, they were making a statement about who they trusted. Not that they wouldn't trust Drew. Brady had the experience. He'd been playing longer. Then after the season was over, electing him most valuable player, that speaks volumes. Those are the guys in the locker room and in the huddle. So he had the respect of his men, and that's one reason he was so successful tonight.
Down again to Dave Bryant, who's with Anthony Thomas.
All right, A-Train, tremendous victory for you. I know it was difficult with the fumble late in the game, but you had a touchdown as well. Tell us about this victory tonight for Michigan.
Today we had to give a lot of credit out to the Alabama team. They came ready to play. They gave us a real hard challenge, and I'm glad we had to overcome it.
What does this victory mean for you, the team, the conference, especially the seniors who are playing their final game tonight?
There's a lot of guys. We just had to keep our heads up. We knew that we can do it. We just had to keep our heads into it. That was a great Alabama team, and I had to give them got a lot of credit for it.
You have confidence going into the overtime. It looked like you guys had no problem with that great pass play to the tight end.
No, I knew they was going to bite on me because they thought I was probably going to get the ball. And I told Coach I'd do the best if I can. I tried to do the best fake I can. I did that.
We'll put you on the spot. Are you coming back to Michigan? Have you decided yet?
I'll tell you next week.
Guys, he's not quite ready to make that decision, Dave.
So keep us hanging. Well, the A-Train did not have his best night. He saw his streak of consecutive 100-yard games end at 5. He had 17 carries, 33 yards. He did have a touchdown. His fumble on the goal line is erased from all practical purposes from the final story of this game because Michigan wins it anyway, 35-34, and we'll be back with some final thoughts in a moment. Today's game was brought to you by FedEx. You've been listening to the 2000 FedEx Orange Bowl on ESPN Radio.